Where's the mic? Good evening. You're going to hear noise upstairs. The fine folks at Locals, where stop down, where Barnes and I have our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. They saw the typo in my shirt and suggested that we have a redirect from vivabarneslaw.local.com to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I said, don't worry. Everyone got the joke, and it's quite hilarious. Oh, yes, forking ads. Yes, this you must sit in order to get this quality content for free, because we still put it on Rumble and YouTube for everyone, even though Locals has its perks. Yes, you must sit through awful ads. Terrible. Now, this is short notice, because I'm sitting there watching the parliamentary debates, and I'm saying, if I'm going to go crazy screaming at my computer, may as well do it for people. It's mind-numbing. We're going to get to it, but we're going to get to our first guest, because David Amber is in the house but doesn't have very much time. And then we're going to see, full disclosure for the YouTube overlords, I am streaming off the Parliament of Canada live stream. Ordinarily, I'm exquisitely nervous about live streaming video, because even if you do it off YouTube, like Rikieta was doing with the law and crime streams, accidents happen. Streams get taken down midstream because you violated some rule and didn't respond to an email that they sent you while you're streaming. And I once had an issue that I did an unlisted test stream just to see if I could do it. And I just pulled up the first YouTube video that came up, and it was a Dude Perfect video because of my watch history. And then YouTube actually gave me a warning for some deceptive streaming practices, because I was streaming what was otherwise copyright claimed work. Anyhow, it took me a long time to get that warning removed, because I told them it was an unlisted test. It was unlisted, which means that they still crawl even unlisted stuff. All right, people, before we get in here, standard disclaimers, super chats, thank you very much for all of the support. YouTube takes 30%. We are simultaneously streaming on Rumble, which, after the wonderful advertising that we got on CTV-W5 on Saturday, we're trying to, we want to see if we can get more people watching on Rumble than on YouTube tonight. And I think it can be done. I swear it shall be done. So we're live on Rumble. Rumble has these things called Rumble Rants, where Rumble takes 20% of the cut if you want to support there. Otherwise, no need to support. I just appreciate any. Share the links, share the content, and your viewership and sharing of the knowledge is all I ask for. If I don't get to your super chat and you're going to be miffed, rooked, shielded, whatever, don't give it. I don't like people feeling bad. I hear my dog eating. Hey, stop that. Dog's eating something. And I just want to bring up the first super chat, which I can no longer find. So I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom. And I had to put on slow mode so I can have the semblance of being able to keep up with the chat. New police chief Steve Bell showed Rebel News how little he cares about Alexa Lavoie getting in the leg by a canister point blank. How much less does he care about citizens like Candace Sarah? Stellar police culture. They are doing serious damage to their brand, arguably irreparable. I always have a smile, except when I don't. What's this curl? What is this? Ladies of the house, I shall have my sexy Jerry. Forget it. It's going up. Okay. So let me bring in Dave Amber, because he doesn't have very much time and he has some news for us. Thank you very much, Ryan B. I appreciate you too. Dave, get dressed. I'm bringing you in. 3, 2. I'm joking. Dave, how goes the battle, sir?
Going well. How are you doing?
Good. In the audio, in the chat, people tell me if the audio is not level. Okay, Dave, before I bring up, I'll go to the live stream afterwards and live react to this abomination of democracy. What's the latest from you? What's going on with you? And while you do that, I'm going to go get my dog who's chewing on something. Go for it.
Sure. So I'll just start by talking a little bit about what's going on in Ottawa. The police in Ottawa are just out of control, David. It's just unbelievable what's going on. You remember that? I think it's Judge Dredd who said, "I am the law." That's essentially what we're seeing police officers doing. And frankly, a lot of people on social media rallying around police officers who are saying, well, they told her to leave or they told him to leave. That's not the way it works. The police don't have a blank check in order to arrest people at will or to do whatever it takes to get their job done. They have to still function according to the laws that exist. Now, they may have more power than they did 2 weeks ago because of the Emergencies Act and the regulations, but that doesn't mean they have unlimited power. And I think one example that we saw this week was my new client, Doreen. I will point out that my Twitter handle is here. This is not just a shameless plug, but if anyone wants to keep up to date on what's happening with that case, that was the case where my client Doreen was filming a police officer, which, by the way, David, the officer that got involved with her, I'm not 100% sure right now, but I believe is the same officer or one of the same officers that was involved in the Iconic Cafe disturbance that happened earlier. I'm still, I've been told that someone's been trying to put me in touch with the owners of Iconic Cafe, but you've seen some video where officers were demanding to be allowed to enter and threatening even to shatter the glass.
Dave, they just wanted to talk. They just wanted to talk on a Sunday. Oh no, it was a Saturday. Sorry, it was a Saturday. Was it a Saturday? No, it was a Sunday.
It's always, kind of dystopian. You saw it with Pastor
Artur Pawlowski.
Artur Pawlowski when the health department came in. We just want to talk. And then we saw that more recently with the OPP saying, well, we just want to hand out flyers on how best practices when protesting. That's always the most dystopian stuff when they're coming here, not to actually enforce the law, but to just engage in a conversation, so to speak. But
the first question I know everybody's asking, just before you go on, are cops required to identify themselves if you ask?
They are. That's something that we see varying degrees of compliance with, and certainly that's something that could form the subject of a professional standards complaint if they don't. So just going back to what I was saying, though, about the Iconic Cafe, I believe what happened, again, I still have not pieced this together, so this is just a theory right now, but I believe the officer, rebuffed from not being allowed in and angry about having not been allowed into the Iconic Cafe, comes down the sidewalk where he then runs into my client who's videotaping or filming from her camera phone. And you see, what are you doing holding the camera in my face, he says, as he walks up to her and approaches. And basically then they start the inquisition, the three officers. Where are you from? Get out of here right now. It's time to leave. That's not the law. I appreciate that many people would like that to be the law, that if the police say you got to leave, you got to leave. But the regulations of the Emergency Act created forms of illegal protest, which is prohibited. I think we went over this on the last time we spoke. It also created a so-called red zone, which is north of Wellington. Okay, it's not the whole city that the Ottawa police has been tweeting out, and their tweets have just been horrifying in the last couple days. I will also say one other thing too, is that through the collective use of the internet, it's identified to be an Officer Jones that was involved in arresting, or not arresting, but accosting my client Doreen and telling her she had to leave and grabbing her phone in an aggressive manner. I've seen a few tweets going around where people are saying that it's the same Officer Jones that was involved in the Charlevoix case that we talked about maybe about a week and a half ago. Remember the older fellow who honked his horn allegedly?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was an Officer Jones that pulled him over as well. And I know they're all wearing masks, so it's hard, and it's
Well, this guy he had the same demeanor. He was big chested and aggressive. I mean,
same demeanor, masked face, Caucasian, very authoritarian. I think the voice sounded different from this second Officer Jones. And so I would just caution people who are either posting or forwarding around saying this is the same Officer Jones with pictures from both of the case. That may not be the case. In fact, I'm almost convinced, certainly, that it's not the same Officer Jones. There are a few Officer Joneses in the Ottawa police, but I would just be very careful and cautious in doing that. And, we don't want to spread any misinformation. We hear that word a lot, but I think we all want to get it right. So.
Okay, so now I guess first questions first. The woman who was, you call it assault, but people are going to say, well, she didn't get hurt, or she didn't have a broken nose, or wasn't that bad. That qualifies as assault. He grabbed her phone for no ostensibly good reason that I could see. and then basically threatened to arrest her, to tell her to leave the area. What's the plan of action? What are you going to do? Ethical?
Okay, well, just to give a bit of context, okay? It wasn't too long ago that not everyone had smartphones. Like I remember when I was in law school in 2004 to 2007. I had a smartphone, but not every. I mean, iPhones were just starting to become a little more ubiquitous in that time frame, and we forget that we're now in a period of time where everyone pretty much has a camera and a video camera on them. And in the last, I'd say, 10 years, we've seen police not react at first too kindly to being videoed. And in fact, early on, police officers would sometimes charge people, or they would be very aggressive with people. And it came to be known that it's not against the law. Now, if you get too close to an investigation, that's another story. But I think that police officers haven't fully ever appreciated the fact that this is sort of off. There's no law that prevents people from doing that. So you have this officer angry already dealing with the iconic cafe. At least that's my belief at this stage. And he's being videoed, something he doesn't want to have done to him. And so he now uses this newfound power under the Emergency Act regulations to claim that he can stop her from doing that, accost her. And yes, you're right, David, in the sense that people get charged all the time, particularly in domestic disputes, for assaults for grabbing a phone out of somebody's hand. I mean, to a certain degree, it's recording people, particularly right now, is a form of accountability. And so it's not just the police officer having a personal chip on his shoulder for being recorded, but it also goes to him interfering with the documentation of what's going on right now.
What I can't stand, I'm just reading some of the chats. I can't stand people saying she just has to comply with the officer. I mean, all right, that is a police state. Like, people don't understand that when officers are barking orders that they're not lawfully entitled to bark, and then actually physically assaulting her. I don't care if she wasn't injured. It's a known fact. Slapping something out of someone's hand is assault, right, or battery, depending on the jurisdiction. I mean, we all know that when that guy tilted back Captain Marvel's newspaper, he assaulted her. And because of Legal Eagle's video, she was justified in breaking his arm and stealing his motorbike. Jokes aside, grabbing someone's phone is not only is it assault, it's also arguably theft. I don't know if police can be charged with theft, but this guy, they've arbitrarily or seemingly self-designated a red zone where they get to bark orders around at anybody. It's unclear what the authority is for doing that. And then, what do you mean, get the camera out of my face? Like, he did walk up to her and threatening arrest. I mean, I don't know how anybody can think this is justified, even if you hate the convoy. If you think this stops there, then you've got some news coming to you. But so what is the plan of action? What's the nature of any claim that she might exercise?
So, I mean, I'm not going to comment on any civil litigation. First of all, I don't know that area of the law, and I'm not going to foreclose anything. But I mean, just looking at it from a common sense point of view, it doesn't look like she suffered any type of quantifiable damages, so to speak. But it is a very important part of the justice system, the civilian complaints that can be made through the professional standards branch at the police service, because that's not conduct that should be condoned. As I indicated, threatening somebody with arrest, essentially extorting them to leave, and basically, using the threat of arrest, using physical force, and basically telling someone that they can't video record when they have every right to do it. The Emergencies Act did not change that. And you pointed this out. A lot of people are saying, well, she should have just listened. I keep asking the question non-rhetorically. Somebody point me to what law she broke. I understand that there are now more laws that can be broken and more police powers that exist, but that doesn't mean that they are endless. One judge, by the way, that I once appeared in front of said that this in a decision on my associate's case when I was receiving the decision, and it stuck with me. She said that at every stage of an investigation, a police officer should ask themselves, what authority do I have to do what I am doing right now? And that is true all the time, but it is especially true now where we're seeing there to be the exact opposite of that going on.
I mean, it's over the top. Someone says Klaus Schwab video. We've all seen the video. Klaus Schwab with another guy, I forget who, WEF, whenever, 3 years ago, saying, I got Putin, we've got Merkel, we've got a third of the Canadian Parliament. Anybody who doesn't know this, just Google Jagmeet Singh WEF. He's on their website. Chrystia Freeland is on the board of trustees of the WEF. I mean, there is I'll get into it when I rant later, but Google it. It's shocking. It's like dual citizenship, but with hierarchical dual citizenship that puts the national interests of the people they represent secondary to their dual citizenship.
Now, Viva, I don't mean to cut it short. I got to actually get going. I've got a couple other things I need to do work-wise. There have been a lot of cases coming in, but thanks for having me.
But hold on, before you go, look at this,
Bob Ross shirt, hoping to bring a little bit of positivity to the situation.
I have been accused of looking like Bob Ross. Guys, look. We just need a little happy tree over there. A little happy tree. It's fantastic, Dave. People can find you if they need you. I can't ask you who your clients are, but you've been getting calls and you've been taking files from people getting arrested. So they can find you at David Amber on Twitter. And there it is. And Google. You can reach the office if anybody needs your services. So Dave, we'll do this. You'll pop back in next time we do a stream or any time in the future to let us know what's going on.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, peace out. Remove. And now, people, oh boy. Now we're going to do this. We're going to go and we're going to pull this up. By the way, if anyone in the chat is going to complain that I'm talking over the debate, let me see if I can. I'll link the debate so you can go watch the debate on your own. Let me just forget it. You know what? Oh, do I want to do that? Oh, here we go. Boom. If you want to watch the debate without me freaking out at the debate, the link is in the chat right now. Oh, and let me go see if I've got anything that I can respond to. I have just been advised that there are now more people watching this on Rumble than on the YouTubes. Let me just go refresh. There are 17,000 people watching this on the Rumbles. There was a 63 telecaster said, thank you, super chat, or a Rumble rants. There was Robert 2099 something or other. Let me screenshot, boom. And I'm going to look at that. Here we go. It's the best I can do, people. Robert 2091 says, Viva, what's going on with the work stoppage I have seen on social media in Canada? What's going on with the work stoppage? Haven't seen it. God bless the freedom fighters. Okay, people, let's see if we can do this. Never done this before. I'm nervous. I was watching the debate. It's not mind numbing. It's mind jellifying. It turns an otherwise functioning brain into jello or diarrhea. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Share screen, Chrome tab, Parliament view, share. Bringing this up. You can see me. I cannot see super chats in progress. I shall therefore. This is on the parliament.qc.ca government website. No ads, no nothing. It's so someone's text me says it's public. Public, I'm not worried about. YouTube is also, I say publicly available. There's no ads here, no nothing that can get me in trouble with copywriting. Let's go see. Let's go see.
To the usual means and invoking.
Tell me what the audio, if you can hear me or the audio, if I can even jack up the audio
here. The door
here.
is opened to a government acting this way every time there is public disorder. As an example,
let me go to the live stream and just see if everyone in the chat, let me know if the audio is good. And then I'm going to continue to be live here. So my channel.
During the Maple Spring.
Oh, I have to sit through an ad. We hear and we hear well. Okay. So everyone understand there's a translation going on because this is who's this individual?
A state of emergency or special
he's got to be Bloc Québécois, I think. Okay, Speaker of the House. They're debating this. It's been 3 days of taxpayer dollars to debate this emergency order.
For his speech, it had many very important points.
Rosemont, he's an NDP. Let's see what the NDP, the Party of the People, has to say.
Strange, this funding from abroad, from the United States.
Funding from abroad.
That was
lies.
To destabilize democratic institutions.
They are spouting the same lies they've spouted about January 6th and the 2016 elections in the U.S. It's amazing.
and main estimates. The
Shrink my
honourable
window
member
of the debate.
for Montarville. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank my colleague, the member for Rosemont, La Petite Patrie, to have raised
Let me
this
figure out the
important issue.
logistics here.
We cannot accept
Nope.
that political and social life in Canada
What did I just do?
should rely on foreign funding or should be affected by foreign funding. We can never accept
There we
this
go.
kind of thing. And Canada
Oh, that'll do.
never,
Or like this. Nope, that's worse. Terrible.
accept such a thing. I would say to my colleague that it's not because
Nope. Okay, we'll do this. We're going to do this for you guys.
broadband wanted us to follow the money, but we need other tools that would allow us to follow.
They're talking about following the money of online fundraisers. That's what they're justifying. That's what they're invoking to justify declaring the Emergencies Act.
Motion to create
Appreciate that.
To look into the We Charity, but the NDP voted with the government. The honourable member for Argenteuil.
Well, the We Charity we've known about.
Speaker.
That's this guy too dangerous to
My
go into
colleague,
the office.
member
Maybe.
for Montarville mentioned that the government should have acted before and earlier, and now.
So apparently, by the way, from what I've been told and understand,
Provinces were not consulted
Trudeau has now turned
before
this into a
invoking
vote
this
of no
legislation.
confidence or a vote of confidence,
And
as
this
if to say,
government
if
really
you
deals
vote
with other
against the
provinces other than Quebec.
confirmation of the declaration of emergency, if you vote
They
against
wanted
it,
to
it's a
change
vote of
the
no confidence
narrative.
in Justin
Would my
Trudeau
colleague
to
have
pressure
preferred
his
that
own
the
MPs
that the
to
government
support his tyrannical declaration.
go
So
beyond
let that
the
sink in because it's
provinces and
actually
police
quite
services.
important.
The honourable member. Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if I completely understood the question, but the fact is, I really don't know what to say, Mr. Speaker.
Well, if you don't know what to say, just say something then, right?
How can the member claim that the governments of the provinces were consulted when the provinces said no? Was he there in a closet hidden somewhere watching what the provinces were saying?
4 provinces publicly said no thank you.
The fact is that this act was invoked without the agreement of 7 provinces in this country.
I thought it was 4.
Questions and comments, the honourable member for Thérèse de Blainville. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So Trudeau said that this is a vote of confidence. If you vote against it, it's a vote of no confidence, which will trigger another election 6 months after he called an election during a pandemic. This is how tyrants rule. This is how abusive partners treat their partners.
I studied the case
Bloc Québécois.
of the
She's going to make
student
sense.
protests. We now have an Emergency Measures Act that would have been implemented in Quebec because the government is saying it's applicable to all of Canada, irrespective of what the provinces believe and what Quebec thinks about it. My question is as follows. There's a big elephant in the room. The Prime Minister made a thinly veiled statement saying this was a vote of no confidence.
Here we go. Here we go.
Later, the leader of the NDP gave his unequivocal support to this motion. The Honourable Member from Montarville. Mr. Speaker, my colleague raises an important question. That is, the government has implemented this general act from coast to coast to coast for a perfectly local issue.
Yes, okay. That's a fair point.
Of Ottawa.
Respond to that.
Governments had already indicated that they were against the application of the act on their own land. I think that it would have been simple for the government, in a spirit of collaboration, like I was saying earlier, to limit the implementation of the EMA, which they did not do, independently to what provinces asked of them. Questions and comments? Very short question. The honourable member for Wellington Halton Hills.
I don't know how to jack up the volume. Let me see here.
A century ago, Viscount Haldane created the emergency doctrine of the peace, order, and good government clause.
I'm biased, but I'm predicting this guy's going to make sense.
Indicated that in peacetime,
although I don't like the
when that
Conservatives.
clause was used to create legislation, the onus was on the government to justify the use of that extraordinary power. Justice Laskin in the anti-inflation reference case seemed to suggest the same. does my honorable colleague feel that that jurisprudence applies to the CCLA court case that is currently working its
Don't
way,
ask about
in front of the
jurisprudence
court
in a
that
debate. They don't answer
Canadian
direct
Civil
questions, let alone
Association.
this.
The honourable member from Montalville, a very short answer.
Very short
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. This is a fundamental question. Can we invoke a statute of this nature when one finds oneself in a peaceful situation?
Can you invoke the Emergencies Act when you're in a peaceful situation?
When there is no state of war?
When there's no emergency?
Well, I believe that in a situation like this one, and I said so in my statement,
Diarrhea now.
the
Who can do
burden of
poop
proof is
emojis?
on the shoulder of the government. However, in the current situation, the government at no time showed us that the EMA was necessary.
There we go.
If it's not necessary, we must vote against.
Resuming debate, and I really apologize to the member for Courtney Alberni, but the member has about 5 minutes.
You can predict the rubbish that's going to come out of their mouths
Speaker, thank you so much.
based
I
on
wanna
party
thank
affiliation.
all of my colleagues from across all political lines for their important
Okay,
interventions
NDP.
tonight.
Count the
Throughout
lies.
Weekend. We're all tired. Canadians are tired.
We're tired.
You know, I just want to make sure it's unequivocally clear that the NDP is taking the use of this Emergencies Act very, very seriously.
Yeah. Oh, no, that means they're not.
Unequivocally clear that if we vote
Be
in
clear?
favor of
Bullshit.
the government's request like we will tonight, it's not a blank check. We are not supporting it because we want to. We're very reluctant here. But because of the failure of leadership from all governments, all levels of government, which led to this point.
We're empowering the government with the
We'll have to
Emergencies
see
Act
within
because of the
established
failure of
powers where
government.
we will
Let that sink
withdraw
in
our
to
support
everyone's
and make
head.
that unequivocally clear.
The
Now,
government failed.
just
Let's
wanna
give them
speak a
more
little bit
powers under
about
the most dire
the main
Emergencies
group
Act
that's
ever.
organized this protest, this convoy. They came to Ottawa. They had issued a memorandum of understanding,
Yeah. What'd that say?
which is a pseudo-legal document.
What did it
calls
say,
for the
sir?
establishment of a committee between the Governor General and individuals appointed by Canada Unity, which would have had the power to override all levels of government
Wrong.
and to dissolve the democratically federal government of Canada if they didn't follow through with the MOU. Now, this is unacceptable.
This
They
is
call
lies,
on
by
the
the way.
Prime
This is
Minister
lies.
to
Let me just see if I
dissolve
can find the
Parliament,
MOU
and
as we do
we
this.
can all agree that this is a failure of the leadership of the convoy as well to make that declaration, because it is certainly not a way to get a meeting with the Prime Minister and the government.
Let me see if I can find
This
this.
is the first time the Emergencies Act has ever been used since it was created over 30 years ago. And we believe that it should, continue to be avoided
Here we
as
go.
much as possible.
Here we
don't
go.
want to use this tool. It's very clear. But this is again a result of all levels of government.
I'll pull it up later.
Failing to show leadership to help keep Canadians safe over the past few weeks.
Keeps
And what we're
Canadians
facing right
safe over
now
the
is
past
not
few weeks.
legitimate
The only
process.
time
It's
people
not
got
a peaceful-
assaulted and
It
injured
has
was
been
when the
an
police
illegal
came in.
occupation that has
You liar.
been harassing people in residential
Lies.
areas of Ottawa.
Harassing
Don't
people?
feel safe in their
Lies.
own homes. There have been reports of attempted arson of residential buildings.
Reports
The
of attempted
convoy is
arson,
giving themselves
as if that never
unlawful
happened
powers
in
to
Ottawa
detain
before the
people.
protests.
And now we're seeing large amounts of firearms confiscated in Coots, Alberta.
Unrelated
This
to
can't
Coots,
continue
unrelated to the
escalate further.
convoy.
It has to stop. And I
These
understand the concerns
liars.
that people have about the potential impacts of the use of emergency measures legislation. I have those concerns too. And we've seen Liberals and Conservatives abuse their power in the past. We've seen the government.
We've seen Liberals abuse their
attack the
power in the
rights of
past,
Indigenous
so we're
people
going
and
to
workers as an
arm
example.
Trudeau with the
And
nuclear
that is
weapon
not what we're
of
talking
political
about here.
power
We're
tools.
talking about an illegal
This
occupation.
guy,
that has been
this
going
is a
on
politician.
for 3 weeks.
This is a member
and
of the
it's having
NDP.
a huge impact on people. And the NDP will use all powers at its disposal to hold the government to account.
We're going to
while
hold the government to
Emergency Act
account after we
remains in
let the
effect.
government
Now,
loose.
I did hear a Conservative member say that, the NDP is the party of the working class and we've abandoned them.
Turn
Well,
my
that's not
volume down a
true.
bit. Yeah, fine.
We're not abandoning
Sorry.
the people of Ottawa. We're not abandoning the workers of Ottawa. We are not abandoning automobile workers in Windsor, Ontario, and workers across this country. And we want to make sure there's a clear flow of goods and services so that businesses can continue to operate. Now, I heard the leader of the official opposition, initially say, I don't think we should be asking them to go home. So we need to turn
I'll just talk
into
further from the
the
mic.
Prime Minister's problem. I had a person from my community say the same thing to me. Paul, he reached out to me and said, let the Prime Minister think on this. Well, I can tell you as a New Democrat, I will never let someone be harmed for political gain. We will not do that as New Democrats.
You're doing that right now by voting for
For
it.
healthcare workers, for Indigenous people suffering across this country, and we need to stop the division.
Runkle,
I know the Conservatives.
Hello.
how you doing, man?
This isn't well.
Been better. Things are chaotic.
Clear that
Everyone in the chat, if you don't know who Runkle of the Bailey is, Runkle, while we hear Gord Johns spew verbal diarrhea, tell the chat who you are.
And
So I do criminal defense and firearms law, and I've got a channel at Runkle of the Bailey. So yeah, and
Ottawa Police.
I am watching this in horror as the NDP abandons its principles.
The Premier of Ontario is a Conservative.
I can't bring up. We'll talk softer. I can't bring up the mic
implementation
anymore.
of the Emergency Act to relieve the citizens of Ottawa and as well the city of Ottawa. How can all levels of government be ignored, including First Nations and First Nations in my own province, the First Nations Leadership Council of British Columbia, the Union of British Columbia Indian Chiefs, the BC Solicitor General in my own province support this. We need to move forward. We need to end the division in our country and stop the flow of misinformation.
Diarrhea.
I see Mr. Speaker, you're cutting me off, and it's time to go to a vote. But I urge us all as Canadians to come together, to drop the rhetoric. And, I know the Prime Minister said a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. It's time for all of us.
Actually, the Prime Minister said those people are putting us all at risk. They're putting at risk their own kids, and they're putting at risk our kids. Those people. That stupid Prime Minister. You know what else he said? Small fringe minority with unacceptable views. He didn't say Canadians are Canadians are Canadians, you liar. Sorry?
It's 2020.
Ian Runkle does good work, and he's a practicing lawyer. Unlike, well, I'm still practicing. I have one file.
Seconded by Mr. Trudeau, move that pursuant to Section 58 of the
New
Emergencies
dictatorship,
Act,
or I say
this House
dictatorship party.
confirm the declaration of a public order emergency proclaimed on February 14th, 2022.
I'm seeing so many NDP members saying we oppose this, but we're going to vote for it anyway.
Yeah, like morons. I'm gonna try to talk less loud or move my mic away. I cannot bring up the audio of the
I
hearing.
recognize the honourable member for the Parliamentary Secretary for the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Speaker, we would request a recorded vote, please.
Call in the members.
So what happens now, Ian? Are they voting this minute?
It looks like they might be.
Motion for confirmation of the guys. Okay, we can bring our mics closer. It's. I mean, but by the way, this has been 3 days of this absolute. All right, we can take this out now. Oh God, yeah, we're gonna take this out. Remove. Wait, I'll just do stop screen. There we go. Why do I still hear that noise? That classical music. Why do I still hear that? Ian, we're gonna now we'll have some time. We've got 30 minutes by the looks of it. Let me just. Does anyone else in the chat hear that classical music?
I don't hear it. So
hold on. I feel like this is the stuff of nightmares. I'm gonna turn the volume. Damn it! I'm dense. I can't figure out how to turn the volume down here. Okay, so everyone, just remind me they're on a break for 29 minutes. So at 8 o'clock, I'll come back. I'm gonna put it on pause so we stop hearing this. Ian, how goes the battle, sir? We haven't seen each other since Rittenhouse.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, keeping on. Still locked in battle with the government over the firearm restrictions, or the firearm ban rather, and that's its own story. It's off in Queen's Bench as we try to have the lower court decision overturned, and there's actually some case law now because a Queen's Bench previously overturned the lower court decision, but it's going to end up at the Supreme Court. I'm pretty sure there's just too many conflicting rulings across the country, and so that's going to be an ongoing battle. But that's where that is now. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they use these emergency powers here to, yeah.
It's by the way, everyone. My brother's going to tune in. He says at 8 o'clock or 8:20 from Queen's Park, because apparently there's protests going on in Toronto. And I'm going to take a few minutes just to get some Rumble rants on Rumble, because there's been a bunch. Tabithaline says the NDP, aka New Dictatorship Party, will do anything to keep the few seats they have. Also, am I the only one who screams at my TV when MP of Public Safety Marco E.L. Mendocino speaks? I doubt you're the only one screaming at your computer screen, because I think everyone is. We got a chat from T. Villers says, when do they vote and what is your vote prediction? My vote prediction is my vote wish. And I'm very bad at this because I know when my projection takes over, or when I have confession through projection. I know when my objectivity is biased based on my own inner desires. It's why I always lose bets on UFC, because I vote with the person I want to win, not with the person I think will win. My bet and my prediction is that this goes down and Trudeau goes down. But I don't know how that would materialize. Like, do they have to call an election if he turns this into a confidence vote? I don't know. But if this does not go down, Canada has gone down. And someone joked about a bank run. It'll be worse. We got Piers DD says AAA support from down under. And then we got Single T says thank you. So those are some Rumble rants that I can't get to all of them. But Runkle, since the man brought up the MOU, I think I have the correct document. I believe I have it. Select, share, and I'm going to bring it up. I don't know what the layout of the screen looks like. I think this is it. Canada Unity, MOU Bear Hug 2.0, Ottawa, February 8, 2022, for immediate release. It has come to the attention of Canada Unity that the Memorandum of Understanding, herein referred to as the MOU, does not reflect the spirit and intent of the Freedom Convoy 2022. It has come to the understanding that the MOU does not reflect the spirit. Okay, so they're speaking then on behalf of the MOU, of the Freedom Convoy. We represent the voice of many Canadians who desire to have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms upheld. We are everyday Canadians, not lawyers or politicians. Ian, I can hear you. Can you see this properly?
Yeah, I can see it.
Awesome. It says, we are immediately withdrawing the MOU as we do not want any unintended interpretations to continue. Our sole desire with the MOU was to have a document where Canadians could peacefully express their displeasure with the current C-19 COVID-19 mandates and express their desire to be free. Canada Unity does not support or encourage any acts which tarnish democratic values held by Canadians. To the over 320,000 original signatories of the MOU, we appreciate your support and will continue to peacefully demonstrate until the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is upheld. The document was created with the sole purpose of bringing the Government of Canada and all Canadians into the agreement that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms should be upheld for all. Canada Unity firmly supports the Constitution and democratic process. We remain committed to following lawful process and upholding freedom of choice. James Bowder and Sandra Brown. Now I'd like to see what the original MOU said. Can I click here? Because it does sound like there might have been something in there that could have been misinterpreted. This is, in fairness and transparency, dated February 8, which is a little bit into the convoy. If anyone in the chat can give me I would like to see the MOU.
I mean, the big thing that I noticed when I don't have the MOU handy, I looked over it at the time, and it's just, these are upset people who don't understand the constitutional framework that we have, which is super common, right? People aren't lawyers, and lawyers are really bad at educating the public about what the law is. And so they're coming in and they're trying to come up with a framework idea of how they would, of what they want. And it's just not possible in our system. So it gets phrased as if it's this attempted overthrow, but it's really, I think, ignorance.
There was an issue. I read the MOU. I just wish I could find it, and take my word for it or go find it yourself. So there was nothing about overthrowing the government. It said, it had a list of demands. There was one document which was not the MOU from the convoy itself, but an offshoot entity, which may have co-opted or whatever the movement, which said, meet our demands or you must resign, which I believe then was interpreted, or I dare say misinterpreted, deliberately or accidentally, by Jagmeet Singh, who then says their intent is basically to overthrow the government, which that soundbite gets regurgitated by the other media that says their stated goal is to overthrow the government. Even in that other offshoot of a movement, it didn't say we're going to overthrow the government or even state those words. It said meet our demands or resign from office.
Yeah.
The MOU itself, I read it at the time. I'm looking at it. I was like, Jesus, it doesn't say anything of what they're saying it says. But it seems that they revoked it for reasons of misinterpretation and said that we just want the Charter of Rights to be upheld. That was February 8. They declared the state of emergency February 14, a week later. And
Well,
then they
and-
brought in the police on Friday.
And if calling for politicians to resign is, an act of overthrow, tons of protests include people calling for politicians to resign. It's
No, it's and also, by the way, the democratic election process, I guess, is an overthrowing of the government when you oust the party in power through democracy. So overthrowing the government itself could be nothing more than the elections. Someone just said, "Oh, Chrystia Freeland," by the way. So,
and Trudeau has just said basically vote for this, these powers, or else I'm going to overthrow the government and have an election.
An election. Vote. So, but by the way, it's enraging because he says when he declared this, temporally limited, geographically limited. In the week of its enforcement before the vote even occurred, it has now been geographically unlimited, because when you freeze 206 bank accounts of the protesters or organizers, that's not Ottawa or geographically limited, that's national. And then he said today, did he say, he said, we need to use this to prevent further convoys from forming. So it went from being reactive to an actual emergency to indefinite preventative of potential future emergencies. And then you have Chrystia Freeland saying some of these requirements for FinTrack, I don't remember what it stands for, they're going to be permanent. They haven't even voted to approve and ratify this declaration, and it's already gone from temporally and geographically limited to national and indefinite to prevent the risk of future risk. And whoever in my milieu doesn't like the analogy, too freaking bad. This is not, I said it on Twitter, this is not the Führer 1939, but this is quite clearly the Führer 1933, where invoking the Reichstag fire says, we're suspending democracy. And Justin Trudeau is literally fabricating an emergency to literally suspend democracy, because they literally on Friday suspended this vote while enforcing its provisions. And then it literally went from geographically, temporally limited, don't worry, we're going to respect your charter rights, to national and indefinite to prevent future convoys. So everyone should appreciate that. And these damn NDP liars and Jagmeet Singh, who seems to have sold his soul to the devil or maybe to the WEF, know it because they can't not know it. And it's atrocious.
Well, and when are they ever going to be able to say that there's no chance of a convoy occurring? That's
it's called protest. There's always a chance of protest. They want to criminalize the Constitution.
It's really, I am reluctant to trust a government when they say we're going to give these powers back. That's
well, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. This is nuts, by the way. We're almost at 50,000 on Rumble. That's 80,000 people between these two streams. Wow. I just want the debate to get going. I think people have seen me cry maybe 2 or 3 times. If this passes, I might cry. It's atrocious.
I've got a bottle all set aside for.
What dare I show? I've got without showing the bottle, I've got something called handcrafted gin Etsu, distilled Hokkaido. Oh my goodness, it's Hokkaido, Japan. Literally, Homer Simpson dialed Hokkaido. In the episode of the when he finds his face on this product that comes out of Japan, it's delicious, and it's only half full. We'll see where it is by the end of this. I don't pull the Rikieta, and by the way, I have a what is it, an iron leg or a wooden leg? Like nobody would know that I'm drunk until that one threshold where it goes from normal to unconscious, but that doesn't happen since I'm 16 years old. Runkle, so so for everyone who doesn't know, I think a lot of people do know you because we met and we all sowed our live stream wild oats. Kids are going crazy during the Rikieta Rittenhouse live streams. So you do firearms law in Canada. So you're familiar with the Constitution?
Well, such as it is. I mean, we don't have constitutional protections for firearm law, so all we can rely on is procedural protections, and even those are being undermined. So it's a tough time to be interested in firearms in Canada right now. It's
T. Viller says, when do they vote, and what is your prediction? Prediction is goes down. They vote, I think, but it looks like in 30 minutes or in 13 minutes, 16 minutes from now. Pierce DD said, oh, I read that already. My apologies. It is. Trudeau said, don't worry, we're not calling in the military. While they were freezing bank accounts or authorizing, or worse, directing banks to freeze bank accounts in the absence of a court order with immunity.
And didn't he say yet?
Oh, yeah, well, he said time to drink. I believe, I don't know if he said yet, but they don't need to say it for us to know it, because they're liars. They've lied over and over again. And the NDP, I want everyone to understand this. The NDP are pathological liars, and they are shameless opportunists, and they're cowards. Because if they were truly the new Democratic Party, they would take a stand against tyranny and not lick its boots and say, whatever you've been walking in tastes very good. I don't want to lick your boot, but I'm going to do it, and it tastes great. Thank you, sir. May I have another? I'm mixing up a bunch of crap here. It's atrocious. They say, we don't want to. The government's failure is why we're granting the government emergency powers under the Emergency Act. Let that sink in. I've said it before, when it comes to government is the only business on earth where you get a raise and where you get to expand your powers for your failure to do your job properly in the first place.
There's a concept I describe as punishment ice cream. If a kid is getting in trouble for something you agree with, they punched their bully or whatever else, you take them for, your punishment is we go for ice cream. And the government loves this concept. We screwed up, therefore we need more power. I am not a fan of it in that context. Like the government saying, hey, we can't do our jobs, therefore give us unlimited power, is really distressing.
Viva, you are not a sneaky drunk. I've noticed you quite tipsy on it. No, you haven't, sir. That's a lie. That is defamatory. Or at the very least, it's opinion. No, you know what the funny thing is? People think I'm tipsy when I'm not even drinking, when I don't even have a drink, which is why it was my decision for a while was to not even to have a drink, because even when I don't have a drink, period, people ask if I'm drunk as a joke because of my general behavior. So I disagree with you, sir. But with that said, I want to bring this one up. Viva, I like your coat. North Face, half price 6 years ago. I don't think they make it anymore. Yeah, no, it's rewarding them with ice cream. We failed, so give us more surveillance. Oh, I've been told from credible sources that they've requested the data access to all cell phones within the red zone of this protest. My question was, red zone when? Because the red zone only became red as of Monday before this Emergencies Act was invoked. And then we'll have Jagmeet say Trudeau failed while also giving Trudeau nearly unlimited power. Let everyone let that sink in. This is going to be Jagmeet's undoing as much as it's going to be Trudeau.
Well, he's been played beautifully, because if he opposes it, then some of his party will be upset that he opposed it. And if he opposes it, then he gets pushed into an election that he doesn't have the money to run. So he doesn't want to do that. And if he supports it, then there's a lot of NDP members who are just absolutely disgusted by it. I've been talking to a number of people saying, hey, I'm an NDP voter and have been all my life, and I can't do it anymore. So Trudeau's played him beautifully. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place, but he should choose the moral option.
Well, or just the constitutional, the lawful. You'll win votes. The funny thing was, when I ran for office and I went door to door, they said, "Well, my protest vote is Jagmeet. Vote for Jagmeet now." Your protest vote was basically Trudeau 2.0. And the reality, Jagmeet wants these powers. He wants these powers for himself. So he'll say, "I begrudgingly grant them to Trudeau, knowing Trudeau's in political trouble, so that when Trudeau, gets ousted from office, Jagmeet might be able to get those sweet, sweet powers for himself, because Lord knows how he would use them." I want to read this. Since you love literary quotes, here's one from Paradise Lost. "Who overcomes by force hath overcome, but half his foe." I love it. I love it, because that's sort of Nietzsche-esque. Staring into the abyss, you do not become the monster that you fight. Rob Rochon says, we've got to raise this one here. By the way, I don't think Rob is yelling at me. Some people find it easier to type in caps. Why has nobody talked about Section 1 of the Charter of Rights? The government cannot strip charter rights without proving in Parliament or legislature that their actions are justified. Oaks, dude, I've talked about this ad nauseum, which is why I don't think even the measures that they are implementing, these diktats, these emergency orders, they have not even become law in the first place to even meet the exception provided for in Section 1. Assuming even if, and assuming even they go through the legislative process, then they have to meet the Oaks test, which is necessity, reasonability, strict limitations, like it can't be broader than it needs to be. But these never even went through the legislative process. So in my humble, ignorant YouTube lawyer of an opinion, they haven't even met the exception of Section 1 of the Charter because they are not law. In Quebec, the vaccine passport was never passed by legislation, specifically because, Supreme Leader Legault did not even want to have the debate because he didn't even want to expose the population to misinformation.
One second, it looks like I got to bring the dogs in, but I'll be right back.
Go for it. Yeah, no, it's sorry, Viva. The motion will pass between 184 and 187 for 154, 150. No. Masochism. Let me bring Rumble out and I'll Runkle and I'll bring him back in. No, it really is just horrendous. Viva, do you think that the House of Commons should allow live chats to come in? Let them see what people actually think, want, instead of relying solely on representatives who more often than not get things wrong. The risk with live chats is you can get brigaded from both ends. So live chats tend to reflect the silo in which those chats are occurring. So yeah, here live chats definitely reflect the overall sentiment of my channel, of this channel. I wouldn't call it right. I wouldn't call it far right, despite what W5 wrongly said. I'd call it constitutional and freedom loving. But then you go to the Young Turks and you want to get them brigading the parliament, you won't get any more of an accurate representation of overall sentiment than no chat at all. I would love to see it. Nothing's better than seeing a streamer or a politician do a live stream, Elizabeth Warren, for example, or whomever, and then seeing the chat not go the way they thought it was going to go based on the silo in which they live. Democratize everything is my reflexive response. There are risks, however, because democratizing access to comments doesn't necessarily reflect the accuracy of the overall sentiment. It just depends, poll in certain silos, you'll get certain results. Viva, I hope you can come to California someday and enjoy our wines. I love California, but you guys are one notch away from Canada. I say that with respect. I have family in California whom I haven't seen in 2 years. Democracy is tyranny of the majority without inalienable natural individual rights, not up for democratic vote. Well, democracy, it depends what you mean by democracy. Democracy is tyranny of the majority without... Okay, I see what you're saying. Democracy without inalienable natural individual rights is the tyranny of the majority, yes. If you have democracy and you don't respect fundamental rights, where even if they all say, yeah, the three wolves and the sheep deciding what to eat for dinner, put it to a vote, that's not democracy. So agreed. Thank you. At least somebody has to speak for the people. Don't let your country to become communist. No, please, let's pray. Please pray. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in positive juju, positive vibes. If this passes, I still think they have to go by the Senate, and then it can get blocked in the Senate. So there's still a second kick at the can of justice. No, making a bet. No, we still have the rights for hunting. For now. And Lord knows we might have to hunt for sustenance if things go that far south. Also, Rikieta told me to call you both monarchs. You know what? I'm gonna invite Rikieta. Dude wants to call me a monarchs. Oh, he can come in the chat and say it himself. No, that's the wrong link. That's the wrong link. How many emails have I gotten since I sent myself this particular email? Gosh darn it. Okay. Boom. Got it. If Rikieta comes, that'll be great. The pace is going to be different on these because I can't actually continually. Rikieta. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if Rikieta gets in here. If you want to pop in after having dared to call me a monarch, period. LOL. Well, that translated very badly on Twitter, and now I believe I'm probably going to be on a watch list. House of Commons website is down. they might have too many people tuning in because of this particular stream. There was a New Zealand chat that I want to see here because I want to see what it said. I'm scrolling through for the Reddit chat. I wish I could see. Oh, you know what? I can't bring it up, but hold on. Charter, same deal. Okay, I'm going to see if I can bring up the chat, but it's from New Zealand. It says it John Sukanek. The NDP are missing a huge opportunity here. I already know I'm going to agree with you because you're right. If they defect here, they may not win resulting election, but they would garner so many votes that they would leapfrog the Liberals. No, I would even challenge that. The NDP in my riding was the one that picked up the most defector votes from the Liberals because people were voting protest votes for the NDP, even though they weren't crazy about them. They didn't hate the NDP. At the very least, the candidate in my riding, who I dare say was a very legitimate candidate. I disagree with all of their policies, but she was well-spoken, well-prepared. I want to get her name so that I can actually do her justice. They would pick up Liberal votes. If nobody likes Trudeau, nobody understands it. Let me see if I can bring this chat up. Hold on. I want to get this if I can get it. Nobody likes Trudeau. You remember that show, Everybody Loves Raymond? We'll substitute Raymond for Justin Trudeau and substitute everyone loves for everyone hates. Everyone hates Trudeau. Nobody likes Trudeau. I just saw it. Sukanek, here we go. Nobody likes him. And if the NDP said, this son of a bee sting who triggered an election during COVID and is now triggering one on the threat of a constitutional violation, sorry, sir, you've done this. You are an absolute disgrace. Never vote Liberal again. Vote NDP, because at the very least, we are Liberal light and Liberal constitutional compliant. They would pick up votes. Let me get the candidate. NDP Westmount NDG candidate. Because the NDP, all they want to do is just spend more money. Like here, her name is. Oh, come on, give me her name. Someone in the chat's going to get it before I can find it. People, you're going to have to wait for me to get this. NDP, one match. Chat's going to get it before I can get it. The Westbound Hall organized the debate. Mark Garneau. Yada, yada, yada. Peoples in the audience clapped. The Liberal candidate. Okay, fine. Garneau. Oh, here we go. Emily Elborn Weinstock. Emma Elborn Weinstock. I disagree with the policies because all they want to do is just spend taxpayer dollars for government programs, and that's not a sustainable business model, and it's certainly not a sustainable government model. But, Runkle's back. But everybody hates Trudeau. And if they trigger another election because Trudeau made it happen, that's how you spin it. And you save your damn integrity as a new Democratic Party, because otherwise you're not new, you're not Democratic, and you're barely a party. What you might be is an N party, and that's the Yahtzee party, which I can't say. When does the Senate vote? Okay, we vote should be in 2 minutes. We're going to come back. Let me bring in Runkle. He's back in the house. Runkle, you have big dogs, right?
Yep. The smaller of them, which I call a small dog, is actually fairly medium-sized. The bigger one is Saint Bernard cross, so pretty large. Yeah, I'm not a small dog fan.
I'm not talking loud. Okay, good. No, I was a bull mastiff man growing up, but my wife said no bull mastiff. Okay, we got Daddy Dragon. $20 Rumble Rant says Canadians have the right to keep and bear arms. The USA Second Amendment came from the existing English Bill of Rights and pre-existed the English Bill of Rights. Canadian layers are British. Well, they might in theory, but not anymore. Canadians have English ancient rights, Bill of Rights 1688, to protect the right to petition. What Trudeau did was unconstitutional, unlawful. www.englishconstitutionparty.com. Thank you very much, Daddy Dragon. That's a very weird thing to say. PJWASS says, gentlemen, both of your channels had made me realize that us Americans ought to annex Canada to show your populist freedom. You kid. He says, I kid, but don't kid. Do it. don't do it. Hey, that's insurrection. All right, keep fighting. Here's some foreign funding to help. You jokes aside, now the government's on my back. This is facts matter. What is chance Senate votes down? The Senate was the one that did not put to vote Bill C-10, which got past the House of Commons. That was the one to regulate online interwebs channels like they were broadcasters. That passed the House and then got stalled at the Senate, and then they called the election. So it could happen again. It could get shut down at the Senate. Runkel, what do you think?
I doubt it. I think I would love to say that somebody's going to stand up to this, but I don't see it. So far, it hasn't been happening.
Okay, I'm going to say you're wrong. So we're going to see who's right by the end of the night. And Runkel, if you're right, Daddy's going to be upset. You should have joined our American Revolution when you had the chance. BBB Canada on Rumble Rants says it's all about getting to your bank account. It's all about getting to your bank account, nothing more. And I tend to agree, because when they said, yeah, we're not bringing in the military, but by the way, I was there. If that wasn't military by definition, it was military in spirit. Those police were acting militaristic. They had armored vehicles, snipers on roofs, riot gear. I don't care if it happened to be the RCMP and not the military. It was militaristic. And Justin Trudeau, being the liar that he is, will play on semantics. It wasn't the military. It was just the RCMP acting like the military. Skitty T says, Viva, if Canada falls, it comes straight to America. We are ready since we have Second Amendment, but we are hoping it doesn't come to that. Tommy and White. And here's a time where I'd have to say, I don't condone any violence whatsoever. There's no but. I would only say historically, there might be a reason why dictators proceed the way they do, to disarm the population and then tyrannize them. And there might be a reason why the U.S. is the last holdout and the last bastion of freedom, for good and for bad, because Second Amendment is a good thing, but it does have risks, and the U.S. has certain gun-related issues that other countries don't. But between guns and knives, and you look to the U.K. and look to Nicaragua and look to Mexico, which have very tight gun laws, the gun laws are not the solution to gun problems. That's what a lot of people don't understand. I think, are we back up? Oh, looky, Mr. Well, this just got salty, spicy. Sir, how goes the battle?
It goes pretty well, man. How about you? You guys are dealing. I mean, I'm slaying little drakes, and you're up there slaying dragons. So, that's I stand in awe of your humble man on the scene live streaming. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and it was fun right up until the cops showed up, and then I no longer felt safe. Like there were two moments where I didn't feel safe, broad moments. One, when the cops showed up, and two, when I was walking back to my car. When you get out of the crowd of the convoy, and then you get into the population of, sparse with angry citizens who might feel the political permission slip to act out their anger over the last 3 weeks, because you got a prime minister saying those people are putting, those fringe minority. That's when I felt uncomfortable, but I'm neurotic. But yeah, man.
No, I think it's reasonable to feel uncomfortable. There's ample history. There's ample history of governments implementing violence to quash distasteful actions from the citizenry. And by distasteful, I mean what the government finds distasteful, which is just minor civil disobedience. Civil disobedience begets violence when it's very unpopular for the people involved. And the government of Canada knew what it was doing. It knows that its actions are unpopular. It has a largely complicit populace and still continues to implement crackdowns on basic human rights and freedoms. And they bit off a little more than they can chew. And eventually, the only way they could resolve it was violence. And that's what they did. State violence against the people. Disgusting to me.
It was, and anyone watching it, like anyone watching it, like we're I don't know who the reporters were, but they're broadcasting live, and they see these cops kneeing, like taking a 3-foot wind up with their knee while they're arresting people. And a reporter named Rosemary, I don't know if it was Rosemary Barton, could have been, saying, what we're seeing here live is police arresting people, savagely beating them with their knees to their ribs or whatever. Like, these people, everyone knew they were unarmed, and they were unarmed, and they had been peaceful for 3 weeks, and they're being treated like sandbags. And they say, we're seeing an arrest. No, what you're seeing is assault and arrest, which are two very different things, but merged together. Oh, it was no, it's crazy. Now hold on a second. Are the vote isn't happening yet? Rikieta, how bored do you want to get? You want to see this? You want to see what's going on?
I actually can't stay because I have to get dinner for my family, and I
Well,
wanted
hold
to
on.
pop in because
Thank you for popping in, but so that I will not go live to that for a few minutes. If we get you for 5 more minutes, Nick, first of all, tell everybody. I think everybody knows who you are. Tell everyone who you are, just in case they don't know, and what you've been covering these days. I've been watching. I just have not been able to get in and say hi, but I hope no one took it personally. What have you been doing,
no, of
and
course
how's
not.
life?
I'm Nick Rikieta of Rikieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I run the YouTube show Rikieta Law, now available on Rumble as of yesterday, rumble.com/C/Rikieta Law. And what I've been covering lately is a trial of a guy named Curtis Reeves. He shot a man 8 years ago, allegedly over some popcorn in a movie theater. That's been the media narrative for 8 years. And as we've watched the trial, that narrative is kind of broken down. So it's been interesting to watch that develop. And it's starting to look a lot more like a justifiable self-defense case, but we still have a couple days to go. I do live trial coverage in the daytime, and at night we do a spicy live stream with jokes and memes and law all mixed into one thing. And with that, I do have to say, I did call all Canadians monarchs the other day. I did do that.
It's not a bad term. I will not, don't expect it to go on a shirt. I'm going to stay with like know the vlog. But and if anyone's doubting the sauciness of the night streams, Rikieta goes from midnight to 3 o'clock. Then you go onto Twitch. Then you do the daytime. Are you still doing Twitch, right?
When I'm doing the early morning trials, I don't do Twitch at night. So because it's just there needs to be a little sleep in there.
As it is, I think I don't know how you do it, except just analogizing. You have a big family, so analogizing it to my upbringing, I think my dad spent more time than not at the office to get away from the family. Nick, before you go, just say hi. I'm gonna pop my brother in here.
Oh, hey,
this is my blood brother, Dan.
Oh, hey, guys.
What you look like you're gonna do something bad. Don't do it, Dan.
Heaven forfend.
Oh, yeah, got to be careful. He might donate to the wrong person. Very evil terroristic acts up in Canada.
I'm actually downtown Toronto right now.
Okay, we're gonna get to you in a second, Nick. I'm gonna thank you first of all, everyone. It's Rikieta Law. Spell your law. Well, it's Rikieta. It's right there. Rekieta Law. They are the sauciest, the most amazing. It's like Howard Stern, but funny and law, and not political and stupid like Howard Stern has become. And then during the day, we all did. It was a beautiful thing that happened with Rittenhouse, and you've been doing it with the other subsequent trials, and it's been fun to watch and amazing. So,
yeah, thank you.
Tune into Nick. Find Nick on the social medias. Nick, thank you very much.
Thanks,
I'll see you soon.
Good luck and Godspeed up there in the cold north.
You'll know what happens based on whether or not you see me sobbing and running naked down the street. We'll see what happens.
All right. Bon chance.
Have a good night. Hey, his French was actually quite good. Dan, don't drive everyone crazy. Turn your camera the other way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From my perspective.
There you go.
Better.
Don't ever do that again, or you never come back.
I was surprised at how good his French was.
Well, I think Rikieta actually studied French at one point in high school. Dan, so hold on. Let me just see. I'm gonna go back and share. No, you know what, Dan? Tell us what you're doing and what's going on.
Now I just well, first of all, it's Family Day in Ontario, so I figured what better way to spend family than with my Toronto, Ontario family and my brother, and Runkle.
Nice to meet you.
And also, what's going on? I don't think people are aware of I wasn't aware of the amount of street closures in Toronto, still, for 3 weeks. I mean, I heard kind of, but now I'm actually seeing it, and it took me a bit of surprise. So
I've been told that the vote's going on. Dan, it's very interesting what you're saying. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Okay, go to
the vote. And we're gonna rage. We're gonna rage, people, against the damn machine. Share screen. I hear it. Oh God, I'm gonna puke. Here we go.
Mrs. Block. Mr. Vierson. Mr. Williamson. Mr. McGuire. Mr. Aboutaif. Mr. Arnold. Monsieur Généreux. Monsieur Deltel. Monsieur Godin. Mr. Cooper. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchen. Mrs. Stubbs. Mr. Shields. Mr. Waugh. Mr. Weber. Mr. Motts. Monsieur Leroux. Mr. Liu, Mr. Bragdon, Mr. Bragdon, Mr. Dalton, Mr. Dalton, Mr. Dotto, Mr. Dotto, Mr. Cram, Mr. Cram, Mr. Kurek, Mr. Kurek, Mr. Morrison, Mr. Morrison, Mr. Patzer, Mr. Patzer, Mr. Soroka, Mr. Soroka, Mr. Van Papta, Mr. Van Papta, Mr. Ruff, Mr. Ruff.
My stomach feels nervous.
Mr. News,
I feel the same.
We know where this is going. I mean, what's the
Mr. Poiliev, Mr. Poiliev, Monsieur Terrien, Monsieur Sainte-Marie, Madame Normandin,
Yes, people, I screwed up by missing the intro.
Monsieur Bergeron,
Who's voting right now, if people can tell us?
Madame de Bellefeuille,
It's got to be the against side.
Madame Michaud, Madame Michaud,
Is there a place where we can see the number? Get that off here. Sorry.
Monsieur Thériault, Monsieur Perron,
Just theater for the masses. I didn't mean to bring that up.
Monsieur Barcelou Duval, Monsieur Champoux, Monsieur Champoux,
Against. They're voting against. Okay, fine. Good. Thank you. Nays. Good. But who's counting? They don't have a tally? Like
House
what?
will now wait for the electronic voting period to end before resuming its proceedings.
I'm gonna leave it up, people. I'm just gonna minimize the screens. I'm actually gonna puke. I'm not saying that to be funny. Like, no, I just did the wrong one. Okay, I'll figure this out eventually. I'll bring it back when they come. Does everybody still hear that music?
Yeah.
now we don't.
Wait.
Oh, there it's gone.
Okay, I'll bring it back. I can see it now. What the fuck is going on? They're voting. So that appears to be the nays. And they are also going to have digital voting because apparently there's people that are not there. I wish you and I were there to vote against this garbage, David. I wish. I won't sing too much of it. It'll get me copy striked. Tom McDonald, I wish. One of the best songs ever. 75 against. That does not include digital. Okay, you know what? I shouldn't bring that up. I don't know if this is true. So, Dan, while we're waiting 5 minutes for the digital voting, what's going on with you?
So, well, I'll just tell you. So the streets are closed. Like, there's a big police presence still in downtown Toronto between all the way down Avenue. Call it University Avenue, all the way down to Dundas. So a lot of the roads are closed. I don't know where that. It makes getting to the hospital for patients actually pretty tricky. I saw a guy earlier who couldn't actually get his 10-month-old daughter because, there's no access. So it's weird stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I'm an idiot. Okay, so we'll figure this out, people. Trial by error. They're showing us who voted for and who voted against. It's not like Star Wars music. They should put Starship Troopers music on. Just remember everybody who voted for.
What is the Imperial March is suitable for this?
Dum 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 bum 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 bum.
What's the countdown?
Electronic voting. So they're right now. I guess we're seeing who's voting electronically.
Okay, I'm gonna log back in a bit. I'm gonna go walk around and see what's going on. I'll give you the update.
Yeah, stay out of trouble.
I'll try.
Remove. This doesn't look good.
Yeah, no, there's too many NDP willing to support this.
Can you imagine the glee that Trudeau's going to feel? Well, this is just the House. This is the House, right? This is not the Senate yet, so there's still the second kick at the.
Yeah.
Canada can't disagree. I cannot disagree with that. I'm not even saying it to be funny anymore. Well, one good thing is that there was a National Post article. Let me just. I'm not going to bring it up because I don't want to screw things up here.
Well, the BQ get a lot of flack out here, in Alberta, but at least they're standing on principle on this one.
Yeah, they're taking them to court. It's great. Can you imagine the? I got nothing good to say right now. Let me just. There was an article in the Globe and Mail that said RCMP banks and Ottawa say convoy protest donors won't have accounts frozen after viral tweet says otherwise. Thank goodness for. Then I got
We'll
read
see
the
if that actually takes place
Yeah.
because
yet it didn't say. It did not say yet. It did not say yet. 5 hours ago, and I can't read it because I don't pay to watch or read fake news garbage. Oh, I don't feel good, Runkle.
no, I have some real concerns here, and honestly, when when I see the NDP door knockers come to my door and say, "Hey, will you support us?" I'm going to have some serious conversations about, "Hey, what happened to your principles?"
Can someone confirm if Lightbound, after his passionate speech, actually voted yes? Can the chat confirm that? God can't save Canada if Canadians and Canadian politicians don't want to save themselves. There's the old expression, God helps those who help themselves, and it's not from the Bible. I don't know where it's from. God helps those who help themselves, and he did. It just said yes. Okay, so Lightbound is a flaming hypocrite, a flagrant hypocrite. Like flaming is in the. I'm not getting red pilled right now. I'm beyond red pilled at this point. A flagrant, outrageous hypocrite. You got Knight of the Knives. Yeah, no, that's it. What a liar. Hey, Lightbound. What good are all the riches of the universe when you have sold your soul? Let me just get the actual quote. Lightbound, you're an awful person, and you should know this. You're a hypocrite. You're a coward, and you're a very, very bad man. You make a nice passion speech against Trudeau, and you just voted to ratify that. So that makes you a liar and a hypocrite. Congratulations. Enjoy your legacy. That will be your legacy. What good are all the riches of the universe for he? So it's Jesus from the Bible. What good are all the riches of the universe for he who has sold his soul? Something along those lines. I'll see it in the chat. No, Dan's out. Dan stepped out for a second. This is depressing. It's depressing. I'm going to go back to Rumble and just read some Rumble rants while we witness. I'm not. It's like I want to be funny and I want to be.
I wish to inform the House that the electronic voting period has ended. I will invite members who encounter technical difficulties to identify themselves. If members were not able to vote due to technical difficulties, they may now use the raise hand function, and the chair will recognize them. Ms. Zurowitz.
Mr. Speaker, my app has asked me to confirm that I have voted, and I vote yay.
She's so happy. They just give themselves more power. She's so happy.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais voter oui pour la motion.
Okay, bon. Mr. Morris.
Mr. Speaker, I had issues with the app. I will be voting nay contre.
Yeah, cheering doesn't do anything, guys. The Conservatives have brought this into Parliament.
Madame Wagenthal.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. I would like to confirm that I voted nay.
Who is that?
Against Colt. Mr. Hoback.
He was Liberal. Lightbound.
To confirm that I voted no.
Does that count? You have to say nay, sir. Don't give a thumbs down.
I think they'll count the no.
My vote was recorded as a nay.
It's not funny anymore. It's not fun.
Mr. Fast.
Mr. Speaker, I vote no.
Mr. Fast. Against Colt. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to make sure you know that I vote no to this motion.
Mr. McLean. Against Colt. Monsieur Singh.
Oh, Jagmeet.
I vote for the motion.
You're an awful politician and a person, Jagmeet. You're a very, very bad person.
Ms. Thomas.
Disgusting is what it is. Let me get the
Mr.
vomiting
Speaker, I want
emoji
to
because that's
confirm that
exactly
my
what this
vote
is.
no.
Jagmeet Singh just voted to support
Ms.
Justin
Goodrich.
Trudeau, the incompetent, divisive leader that he is, which makes
Thank you, Mr.
Jagmeet Singh
Speaker.
an
I would
incompetent,
like
divisive
to
leader.
confirm that my vote is no.
Jagmeet Singh, may you live forever with your betrayal of
Mr.
Canada.
Junius.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to confirm that my vote was cast as a nay.
It is registered. Mr. Redikoff.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just too want to confirm that my vote was cast as a negative nay.
Your vote was registered as nay. Mr. Stewart.
He could have. Jagmeet could have saved his soul, but he didn't.
Yeah, no, that's
Mr. Stewart.
his principle appears to be
Okay, maybe we'll go back.
convenience. That's
Ms.
it.
Kwan.
That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My voting app was not working, and I vote yes.
Ms. Kwan, four.
Ms. Gray.
Mr. Speaker, I vote no.
That is confirmed.
That is confirmed. Mr. Tolmie.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to confirm that my vote was a nay.
A lot of nays by digital, but we'll see if it adds up to anything. I think it's.
Over and done.
Confirm that my vote was nay.
It is confirmed at nay. Mr. Stewart.
Can you hear me?
Go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? We can hear you.
Anyway, thank you. Anybody else?
Shut up, you buffoons in Parliament, destroying our country as we're watching live. We're not watching the Berlin Wall come down. We're watching a digital Berlin Wall go up right now.
And they're also proud of themselves.
185, 185. Nays, contre, 151, 151.
I declare the motion carried. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition, on a point of order.
Speaker, I rise to file with you pursuant to Section 59 of the Emergencies Act, a motion to revoke the Prime Minister's emergency declaration that was proclaimed last week.
Yeah, clap. It'll look good. You just ratified it. You think they're going to revoke it right now? I like Candace, but this is theater.
Signed by more than 20 members of the Conservative Party.
The Government House Leader.
I mean, it's worth at least doing the theater to show that, you know, get everyone's names down as who supported
There was
this.
a House order. The House would adjourn after the vote, Mr. Speaker.
Look at this. The tolerant Liberal Party shutting down a woman speaking. Yeah, look at that.
I'll let her finish, and then we'll finish up.
Consider the matter at the next sit-in week. I say this to all Canadians, that Conservatives will continue to use every tool at our disposal to end the Prime Minister's abuse.
Yeah, bull crap. You Conservatives enabled this from the beginning under O'Toole. So have fun now with the turd sandwich you've made.
Are we done? The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I would just like to take the time to thank the staff who stayed over the course of the weekend, the clerks, the House administration.
These guys are so happy. They just gave themselves all the powers in the world.
But I think we should
He'd like to thank the
people who
staff.
served this place for their incredible service.
He'd like to thank for their incredible service. Yeah, clap, you buffoons. Clap. This is it.
No.
Come, Ely.
It being 8:23 p.m. pursuant to the order made Thursday, February 17th, 2022, the House stands adjourned until Monday, February 28th, 2022 at 11 a.m. pursuant to Standing Order 28.2 and 24.1.
It dies with the thunderous applause and then music. So, but just so everybody understands, like, this is not to spin anything. That's the first half. Now it goes to the Senate. I don't know when it goes to the Senate. When does it go to the Senate? Unfucking believable. I mean, that's it.
Yep.
Well,
And
I gotta shut
now
up.
they've got all these powers to use against their opponents.
You think they're not going to go out and deliberately use this to try to shut down every donor, every politician, every affiliated individual to the PPC? Well,
We'll
why
see.
would they do? They wouldn't do that. He said he would respect the Charter of Rights while he invoked the Emergencies Act.
I mean, he says lots of things.
Wait until I'm gonna pull up some jokes which are not gonna be funny. Bank run. Look, the funny thing is, like, when Hillary lost, and you had Akila obviously doing her live stream, or her video, and like put it together, like, oh, we thought we would win, and they were devastated when. I appreciate how people are devastated when their team loses. When your team is the Constitution and it loses, it's not your team, it's everybody. And I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic or this is what do you think anyone in America or internationally is going to think of Canada now? Do you want to do business with the Canadian banks who can force you to disclose and freeze accounts of people without a court order with immunity? It hasn't gotten there yet. It's still got to get past the Senate. I'm going to try to Google when that happens. But this is we're virtually done. And hey, tyranny this time came under the name of liberalism.
Yeah, it's terrifying to watch and terrifying to see just how many people have flipped on their entire principles. The principles they claim to hold dear. And, just because they're afraid.
Stefano Ducati says, David, Ian, BC bailiff, do you think there's any chance the Senate will crush this? I don't think they'll crush it. What's the, I don't know what the demographics of the Senate are, but there's a chance they'll reject it. So one last shot, but crush it? No, this doesn't need to be crushed. This just needs to be, democracy. The Constitution needs to be preserved. I'm going to get angry, but I'm not, and I'm not trying to be funny about any of this. This is not funny anymore. It's not funny. The bank run, not funny either. Don't worry. They're not freezing the accounts of donors. Like the abusive husband says, don't worry. I'm not abusing our kids today. It's just you tonight. But don't mouth off too much or your kids are next. And I'm not trying to be glib or insensitive with the comparison. That's what this is. This has been an abusive relationship with the government for 2 years. And they have now usurped our constitutional rights. And while they're doing it, don't worry. We'll respect your constitutional rights. We're respecting the charter while we violate the charter. We're not freezing the accounts of donors yet. Yeah. We'll see if and when. Justin, who's the guy? Lightbound, you've signed. Whatever happens for the rest of your life, I hope you're watching this. He's not watching this. I hope you see this highlight. You have sold your soul and your principles. You gave a nice impassioned speech, and you talked very nice talk in your speech where you criticized Justin Trudeau and what he was doing to Canada. Congratulations, you just ratified it, you gosh darn hypocrite. And enjoy your legacy. This will be your legacy. You will be irrelevant in 10 years' time, but you sold out your country supporting the tyrant that you criticized in an impassioned speech 2 weeks ago. And may your family live with the diametric opposition of what you said and what you did, because you talked big and you acted cheap, like a prostitute, like a government prostitute who has been pushed into a corner. This is why I'm not sure how I would do in politics, because Lord knows what pressure tactics they imposed on this guy to make him turn so 180 degrees from his impassioned criticism of Trudeau to his support of Trudeau.
I've had people say, "Oh, you should go into politics," and I would not last because whatever party I was on, if they're like, "Hey, this is a whipped vote,"
explain what a whipped vote means for those who may not know.
So yeah, if you're not familiar, if a vote is whipped, and this one was, if you vote against the party lines, then you're out of the party, and that means you're not getting reelected. You're going to be out. But if they'd be saying, "Hey, this is a whipped vote," I'd be sitting there saying, "I don't care, tough," and I'd get kicked out of the party in about 8 seconds. So, yeah,
I love this. It's the most beautiful, sweet, innocent avatar with the most cryptic message that you can possibly imagine. Your wonderful brown eyes and your nice hair, not as nice as this. How does it feel to know that Klaus Schwab runs Canada now? Doesn't feel good. When is the Senate? Sorry, I wanted to bring this up. When is the Senate vote? I don't know offhand here. When is the Senate voting? I don't know. I don't know. So they had to hold the. I don't think they had to have held both votes within. Can you imagine what Justin Trudeau's? He's sitting in a room right now, saying all of my gambits have paid off, and I am now the Führer 1933. Whether you like the analogy or not, and you can criticize me, and I can tell you why you cannot criticize me, and I don't believe that reason. You can criticize me. He's the Führer now. Literally. 1933, Reichstag fire, invoking the Emergencies Act to suspend democracy. I have no doubt the Führer, in his persuasion, in his, what's the word when you give a good speech and you convince people, you are
charismatic.
Yeah. I have no doubt in his charisma. He said, "This is for your own good. This is for your own safety. We are usurping your freedoms for your own protection." Only one party I have faith in, and its color is purple, but they don't hold any seats. I thought you were going to say God, Jeremy, and I was going to say I don't believe in an organized God. I just believe in maybe a higher power. But this is it. It's over. I mean, wonderful. And now imagine the orgy, the ecstatic, orgasmic orgy of the CBC Global News. They literally came in. I want everyone to understand this. They literally came in and they stomped indigenous grandmothers with horses. They need Afghanistan veterans and then handcuffed them for 2 hours in the freezing cold, drove them outside of the city and dumped them off like trash. They abused. They deployed tear gas. They deployed stun guns, and I was there for 2 of them. They did all of that to preserve democracy by invoking the Emergencies Act to interrupt democracy. And the whore politicians, the whore media, whore being a polite way of saying media, who are paid by them, are going to rejoice now. After having done all of this, we broadcast it live for you to see. I'm going to go to my Twitter. We broadcast it live for you to see. And after you saw it, and after all of these politicians saw it, they voted to ratify the declaration of this tyrant, racist, misogynist, twice ethics breaching, corrupt, liar, divisive politician. And Justin Trudeau is probably going to go to bed now thinking he is. Hold on. Let me bring this up, please. I'm just going to do this. It's not funny anymore. Everyone thinks like, okay, it's great. Oh, here's Pierre Poilievre on the street. Well, actually, you know what? I don't even know what this is. Let me see what it is. This is not. What can someone get the quote? What good are all of the wealth of the world when you don't have your integrity? There's no more jokes tonight. It's going to just be unpleasant.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm sure.
It's
Runkle, are we on
that this went through?
No, and just like that, it went out with a fizzle. Are we I can't see. Are we 2 small squares on the left? Oh, Ian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are we 2 small squares and you see this?
Yes. Yeah.
Whether
here we go.
In mere moments, members of Parliament will vote on whether.
Hold on.
In mere moments,
It's
members
over.
of Parliament
It's over, Pierre.
will vote on whether to apply the never-before-used Emergencies Act, giving government unprecedented powers to crack down on your freedom of expression and even freeze your bank account.
Maybe you should not have posted this after the vote, Pierre. Just throwing that out there.
To violate their objectives. I'm against this bill.
Good.
So what's it really here for? Well, the Prime Minister said that it's to halt the blockades. Well, the blockades ended at the border crossings across Canada before he even announced this act.
All very good points.
Went on to say it's
Police,
because
by the
truckers
way,
were
just check
parked
that
on
out.
streets in front of Parliament Hill. Well, as you can see, there are no more truckers parked here. In fact,
Let me just stop it there. There's no more kids playing on bouncy castles, and there's no more posters of freedom. There's no more trucks saying "Freedom, we love Canada." There's no more. I didn't see the hot tubs. I don't know what that person was talking about hot tubs. But yeah, I was there 3 days ago, and had never felt so much patriotism and love. And now it's good. It's only police.
downtown Ottawa has never been more tranquil than it is right now. So with things being so peaceful enough for me to stand right in the middle of this street.
It was peaceful enough for you to stand on that street for the last 3 weeks. Maybe you should have done that, Pierre. Maybe you should have actually bit the bullet and done what you're doing right now a week ago, Pierre.
What is the real agenda in giving government these extraordinary powers?
Here's the spoiler alert. I don't know what he's going to say. Freezing your goddamn bank account without a court order with immunity. Maybe it's that, Pierre. Maybe. Let's see.
Well, the agenda, of course, is the same as that Justin Trudeau has had from the beginning of the pandemic, and that is to use crises and fear to take more power for himself. Powers neither he nor any other politician has any business deploying on a peaceful citizenry.
Hold on a second. We're going to do this. Yeah. You're a little late on this post, Pierre. And GIF, and I want things you should have said yesterday. Let's see if that comes up. Here you go. You know what? No, I'm sorry, because I already knew it. Thanks. Just reply. Okay. There you go. You just saw a tweet in real time.
This bill, and as Prime Minister, make sure such abuses of power never repeat themselves. Instead of this bill, what we really should do is remove other restrictions, get rid of vaccine mandates, and allow our.
Is he going to talk about the freezing of bank accounts without a court order with immunity?
Canadians feel like they've lost control of their lives. It's time.
They don't feel like they've lost control of their lives. They've lost control of their lives because the government has it and can arbitrarily say, we've frozen your bank account because we directed the bank to do it. And whoa, we've also immunized the bank from any civil lawsuit.
Time that we gave them back. And let's work together to make Canada the freest country in the world.
If I'm watching this and I don't know who this guy is, I'm saying he's controlled opposition. And I don't believe in that term. But thanks, Pierre. I've been following you for a while. Your leader and your party allowed this to happen.
In the meantime, sign my petition to reverse the Emergencies Act and reclaim your freedom.
Okay. Freedom lost, by the way, can never be reclaimed. I'm just okay.
I mean, even when they undo this, it will be that this, this
precedent.
door was opened.
It's the new precedent. It's like impeaching Trump twice. What was hitherto the most sacred of all constitutional measures has now become Skittles. Here's one for you. Do whatever you want. All right. Well, I'm sick. That's it. I'm just gonna see what I got. Messages coming in from lots of people. Someone says truckers haven't all left yet. Okay, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The truckers staying there now are risking no gain for all loss. That's the reality.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Joel Lightbound. So I've got a tweet saying, this is Trudeau telling Joel Lightbound and any other possible liberal dissenters that they'll be in big political trouble if they vote against the Emergencies Act. If you don't have courage, don't go into politics. If you don't have principles, don't go into politics. And the problem is that people without courage and without principles go into politics. All right, man. Thanks, Grey Wolf. I'll go get some Rumble rants. This is going to be. You may call this like the Hillary Clinton lost party, and I don't care. This was never about me, and this was never about. Chris Rumble says a Rumble rant because we kicked YouTube's ass tonight. That's Chris Rumble, who I believe is the CEO. I don't believe he is the CEO of Rumble. Chris, thank you very much. And yeah, well, Canada's done for now. But don't worry, guys. Trudeau said he's going to respect the charter, while simultaneously not respecting the charter by implementing the measures of his act before it was ratified, because he suspended ratification because of the emergency, which doesn't exist anymore because it's not there. Daddy Dragon says Canada needs to kick the British out of Canada. Learn from your real history. British attacking freedom and building the Berlin Wall. Free Canada, free England. Beowulf 99 says so sad, and one by one the lights of liberty go out across the land of Canada. Zerosifer, I know you from YouTube on Rumble. Thank you. Well, time to get refugee status. US is bad, but still more freedom there. Yeah, except unfortunately, to even travel to the US as a foreigner, you need a certain status. And gold and silver. Yeah, I'll be contacting the coin shop tomorrow. I mean, you can't go wrong. Buy a nice coin, a nice, beautiful coin. Not like my tetradrachma from Greece is going to be of any good. Thomas X Hatfield says, oh, here we go. House of Commons votes along party lines 185 to 151 to freeze bank accounts based on political views. LPC, Liberal Party of Canada, and NDP, New Democratic Party, traitors and violators of the oath. But enjoy your title of New Democratic Party, you fascist dictator. We'll call you the new. I want to say the N of the Yahtzee dictatorship party. Only the CPC and Bloc vote as though they value individual liberty. You know what the problem is? The Bloc allowed this to happen. The Bloc supported these measures for a long time. So did the Conservatives. So they may have made the right decision now. They empowered. They fed this plant of the little shop of horrors, and Justin Trudeau is the plant. They fed him the blood to let him get this big, and so they're saying, okay, well, no more, but too late. It's already beyond your control. Thomas X Hatfield says, I got that. All right, well, time to get refugee status. Okay, we got that. And University alum, liberalism is always followed by totalitarianism. I've been fighting it for decades in America, preaching to them. You have no idea the self-sabotaging effort you're fostering, relinquishing sovereignty. And on Rumble, I'm just going to refresh it just to see what we're at. 33,000 watching. It's nice. Okay, well, 70,000 people are watching the end of democracy in Canada. But no, I'm sure Trudeau will relinquish these powers that Chrystia Freeland has said now are going to become permanent. Ronald Reagan, the most terrifying words from the government. I'm here to help. Oh, I'm from the government here to help. Yeah, you know what else he said? You're never more than one generation away from a total loss of freedom, and we're there. No, I'm losing hope, Sparty. I'm losing hope. Viva, don't lose hope. Think of the USA civil rights era. Freedom fighters spent over a decade. Those freedom fighters now would be qualified as domestic terrorists, have their bank accounts frozen, have a file put on them, have the RCMP go after them. You know what? The civil rights era would not have been able to succeed in Soviet Russia or Nazi. It would not have been able to succeed in Nazi Germany. Sorry, just facts. But thank you for the chat, and we'll try not to get too depressed. Sorry, Ian. What else do you have to say if we're not going to do this?
I mean, you're absolutely right that they would have used these powers against things like the civil rights movement. You know, letters from a Birmingham jail was written from a jail because he was breaking laws, and says, "Hey, you guys who are criticizing me for breaking laws, what else do you think is going to happen?" Yeah, we've gotten very good as a society at making protest ineffective, and this is you don't have to agree with a protest to think that it is concerning that this is a direction we're going. All the people who are cheering this now will be at some point in the future probably upset when these principles are applied against somebody they agree with.
No, and protest in the streets. They've just empowered the government to freeze the bank accounts of any prospective protesters. Protest in the streets. Hey, if they declare you're blocking the traffic, photograph, freeze your bank accounts. Trudeau just took a big turdo on the Constitution in the worst, in the worst possible way.
Well, I mean, they said, "Hey, you should have protested right. Don't block the streets, don't anything."
When we said the protest was over, you should have gone home, because that's how it works. It's
well,
like
let's say you organized a new protest. You're saying, okay, we're going to stay off the sidewalks. We're going to, play nice. They'd start shutting down bank accounts to prevent it. It's real concerning.
I'm gonna take myself off mute. Can you imagine anybody thinking they're going to invest in Canada now? Like who would invest in Canada? Who would invest in Canadian banks? Who would invest in Canadian real estate? I mean, that's like Americans went north to avoid the draft 50 years ago. Time to return the favor. Political, except you still need to be double vaxxed to cross the border back into the States. Viva, see, you have already quit. Shit. Zeke 25:17. I'd like to know what verse of the Bible that is. At some point, I'm not going to quit. At some point, I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to shift, and I'm going to fight maybe from somewhere else. It's I don't know where you live, Zeke. By the amount of your donation, you look like you're in the U.S. So you're telling me I've already quit in a country where if I continue fighting, they'll just freeze my bank accounts. So what shut me down, cancel me. Like, that's good. What good can I do then? But it's easy to say that it's easy to judge someone else from the freedom into a country where they have literally just ratified arbitrary, unilateral, or even worse, at the direction of government, shutting down of bank accounts with no court order and no liability. So,
I mean, it's such an incredible threat.
A bank run can. I don't know if bank run can fix this or make it worse, but maybe it has to get even worse before it gets better. Maybe those trucks, Okay, well, headline: Russia invades Ukraine 10 minutes before the vote. I don't know. I'd be sus. I'd like that. What is invade? I don't trust anything anymore. I don't know what anything means. You don't have to love me for my mind. I'm gonna see. You got tattoos on your arm. They look kind of good, actually. The protest is supposed to continue with refusing to work this week, but our Canadians are going to follow through. Well, we'll see. There we go. I mean, this is troll, but I'll bring it up. Get vaxxed. Yeah, thanks. Here, do what you want with your body. Don't ever tell me what to do with mine. Britt Cormie, who will invest in Canada? China will pour money into Canada and the politicians' pockets. Does anyone hear the kids screaming upstairs through the mic?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's not bad.
It's happy screams. It's not.
No, it doesn't sound like anybody's in agony or anything. It just sounds like kids playing.
I'm taking that down. No illegal advice. Ian, well, this has been a very morbidly depressing night. I would like to thank you for being in here. What's new in terms of restrictions on otherwise hitherto previously lawful firearms in Canada?
Well, they keep slowly expanding the list of things that they consider banned, and they're sort of developing a shopping list for things that they might put in another order in council. So if you saw the arrest in Coots, basically expect everything you saw on that table to possibly make the banned list.
Explain what happened in Coots. By the way, my brother's back inside and he's not in detention. So explain what happened in Coots. Then I'm going to bring my brother in.
So basically they found, and it's not clear whether this is several groups or one group, but they seized, I think, a number of firearms. They arrested 11 people. There was body armor, and there were some magazines that looked like they were unpinned. So those would be prohibited devices here in Canada.
Unpinned meaning you can fit more than the maximum requirement into the magazines.
Yes, exactly.
Maximum restriction.
Yeah. So that's so they arrested those people, but everything that's on that table, I expect that they'll probably push through to try to ban later and say, "Oh, look, this is what these extremists had," and a lot of them are just, hunting rifles, shotguns. There's a Vector Chris on that table, if I recall correctly, which is mostly just kind of a fun novelty gun. And they're going to keep coming up with more firearms that they want to ban. And we're getting really close to the end of the amnesty order, and there's been no announcement as to buyback and no announcement as to an extension of the amnesty order. So we'll have to see what happens. They might just let it run out, and then suddenly a whole bunch of Canadians who are waiting for that amnesty order or for the buyback become, serious criminals overnight. It's for just, owning things that they've owned and not doing anything with them, just keeping them. It's
all right, I'm gonna bring my brother in. He's also Dan.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going?
What up, G-Money?
I just want to offer a bit of optimism. Okay.
Liar. He's lying. He's getting ready to lie, people. Because he sees it in this eye. This is my anger. You see the bag there is worse than this one.
I didn't watch your stream about the going through the Emergency Act. We still have the rule of law in this country. We still have the Charter of Rights, and the Act is subject to that. The Charter is still subject to international law and the Bill of Rights. Like, we're still protected. It's not like a total free for all. Okay. And if it's subject to that, that means there's still judicial review. Okay. So the judges, I think, are right now our last bastions of sobriety right now. And I think in the coming, how long is this going to go for? A week, right? So I think in the next week or two, we'll see how they're going to. I think
the vote to approve the measures will keep them in place until mid-March at the latest, and the Senate must also vote on the government's request. At any point, the Senate, House, or government could pull support for the extraordinary powers. I don't know who's sending this to me. Let me just see. Someone sent this to me. It's an article from Yahoo News. Okay, fine. So
I have some hope with the CCLA and the BCCLA fighting this. I'm going to send each of those groups some money and none to Amnesty International because they took a position in favor of these restrictions.
What happens if they declare that donation suspect to freeze your bank accounts? Nobody thinks that's going to happen, eh?
Well, then I guess we'll see. But
Dan, what were you saying before I cut you off like a rude bastard?
That will be a concern for. I don't think many in the bar, lawyers have thought this through in terms of how they are now. They have to be careful as well, right?
They don't have to. They didn't have to be careful before they empowered themselves with extraordinary measures. Justin Trudeau's mother and brother were on the payroll of a charity that they gave a contract to without any bid or nothing. Why would he have to be careful now? He just gave himself absolute immunity. We can do whatever the hell we want because it's an emergency.
I don't think he did. I think it's still, there is a lot of power in that legislation, but it's got, first of all, his own words. So we have to keep him to his own word.
His own words were, we're not a country that believes, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. His own words were, we're not a country that makes vaccination mandatory. And then 6 months later, I believe vaccination mandatory. And people voted for him. So his own words would mean nothing. Sorry, not to be mean.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I get right. And so by his own words is these measures have to be targeted and specific and focused on.
Limited. And by the way, they're not geographically limited and they're not temporally limited. So he's a goddamn liar. He's been a liar for his entire career.
Well, so my concern there was, you're right, because the initial threat was the blockade, right, at Coots and all the different, at Windsor, which by the way was cleared the day, but before I got there. I want to clear that up, by the way, for the viewers. And first of all, thanks for all the positive comments. That bridge was clear long before I got there, and I was confirmed that with the OPP at one of the officers. So, and the injunction there specifically allowed for peaceful protesters, right? These measures have to. So that border was clear. These measures have to be focused and targeted. If the goal now is to clear the borders, are they cleared? Yes.
No, Dan. Oh shit balls! I think I just broke my phone. God, I didn't break it. Hold on. It sounded like it broke. His goal now is we need to prevent future convoys. Those are his new words. Chris, you're freelancing. The FinTrack measures are going to be permanent. That's their words. So they're liars. They're liars. There's nothing. There's no. You're not. By the way, my brother is not controlled opposition. He doesn't work for the Liberals. I know he feels probably more vitriolic sentiment than I do. I just express it more. Their words were temporally limited, geographically limited, and now it's FinTrax forever, and this is for prospective future potential. And those idiot liberal politicians actually arguing it. How do we know when they're going to come back? They might come back next week. We need this Emergencies Act to respond to as of yet non-existent prospective emergencies. Reichstag 1933, people.
You're going to have to look at what orders, the exact wording of the orders they're putting in place, and trust me, they'll be keeping the lawyers busy, and going through each one of those, for making sure they comply with the very time-limited, specific scope that they're supposed to be in place for. So.
Charles Mensa, thank you very much. Viva, your passion for freedom is your passion. I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired, and I'm getting scared. But set that aside. Dan,
we'll be good, bro.
You're taking these files, correct? You're taking files that come your way.
I'm in discussions right now, so to be determined.
Let me rephrase. You're a practicing attorney who would handle files if you get a call.
Put it this way: these files are becoming more and more interesting. They're unprecedented, so I think there's work to be done, and I'm eager to to take on files that I can with the help that I can get. So.
And Runkle, same thing for you. You do firearms law, but you also do constitutional stuff. If any of these come your way, you're in what province?
I do criminal law, so I'm in Alberta. I have to look as to whether or not these would be within my, because it really depends on what's going on, right? There's they haven't laid, to my knowledge, any Emergencies Act charges. What this probably needs is more people to challenge the banking aspects, and that's probably unfortunately outside of my wheelhouse. I'd probably have to, this has never come up, so it might be outside of everybody's wheelhouse, but really this is something that probably calls for somebody who does more civil litigation, unfortunately.
Well, and I'll tell you the problem. I've done civil litigation. I've never done constitutional injunctive civil litigation, although I did civil injunctions. The court process, first of all, is necessarily skewed in favor of the powers that be, the powers that appointed them, the presumption of lawfulness of any law on an injunctive basis, and then the time it takes to get to a permanent. So good for you. The expectation, the perception that these things become permanent just by virtue of passage of time is a very, very interesting thing. High school anecdote. Go for it.
There'll be another election, and that, and the incoming government can change that. So I think
they could have called an election now, though, Dan. They could have voted on this and declared, and it would have been a no confidence vote. They didn't do it. And the last election, nothing changed. I'm very angry. But it's not done yet. But the anecdote, I got what's the word? Detention in grade 8 at a all boys high school, my second of 3 high schools. And the teacher, who was decided to give me as a detention, read the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, I believe. Someone's coming downstairs. And it was, humans can get used to anything, however atrocious, over enough period of time. 2 years pass while you go from an injunction to a permanent, and people have gotten used to our bank accounts are being surveyed, and just comply. You can come down. You have to stop screaming. Just comply. Just have the right thoughts. It took 2 years to condition people to think it's acceptable to compel children to wear masks 8 hours a day, to compel them to get a medical procedure for a risk that poses virtually no. It took 2 years to do all of that. Isolate, curfew, lockdown. It took 2 years. Another 2 years, they're like, well, just don't say anything bad about the government. They won't freeze your accounts, and that's how it goes. So I'm not optimistic. I'm actually grotesquely pessimistic.
I think it's going. However long. So we got March 14th. Okay, so that's our new goalpost now. I think the strategy has to be: look, you're now going to be dealing on a day-to-day basis with law enforcement for the most part. Okay. Because to get through to a JR, a judicial review or whatever is going to be difficult for most people. So the question is how now to deal with whatever order comes down the pipes, whatever, interruption in your daily living that you might now encounter. You're going to have to learn how to deal with law enforcement on a day-to-day basis. It sounds like, right? So for people who are getting their bank account seized, you're going to have to go through the motions and figure out, who issued the order, get names and document everything, right? But it's just a new way to, I think, handle what's coming down the pipes, day-to-day dealing with law enforcement.
But by the way, trust Trudeau. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It'll be 2 weeks to flatten the convoy, which is no longer there. It was Viktor Frankl, man's search for meaning. The irony was that it was. I don't care about identity politics, and I'm not saying this for any reason other than irony. It was a non-Jewish teacher telling a rebellious Jewish teenager to read Man's Search for Meaning, and I remembered certain things from it. That, I mean, it was great punishment, much better than. I know the teacher's deceased, so I still won't even mention his name. Mr. P, you know who you are. You're watching from above. Who his detention was count the holes in those stucco tiles on the ceiling. Do you remember those things when you're in school? Those slats, push them up, and they had holes in the it looked like wafer cracker. He said count the holes in it, and I did it. Another one said count the holes in the bricks, which I did. Another one said read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and I remember it. So yeah, two of them are. On that note, I think I've scared Ian off. Dan? No, I'm joking.
No, I just needed to shout to my wife there.
Okay, we got a kid here who's come say hi to the world, dude. Oh, let me bring the.
I'm signing off, but Godspeed to both of you. We'll be fine.
Right,
stay one more month.
Yeah, one more month to flatten the curve of democracy. That's what's going to happen. Okay, I'll bring it out. Dan, hold on. Let me just.
Thanks,
Dan. I will see. This is actually my blood brother, people, not a brother in a metaphysical sense. Dan, if you enjoy the night, Ian, I guess we'll okay. I'll take you out, Ian. Thank you. I'll give the Do I give a? Oh, hold on. Crack your back. I'm gonna crack your back. Oh, that wasn't his back. That was the chair. Ian, thank you very much for tuning in.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's
you want to try to give a little white pill moment here, or do you want to try to give some optimism?
I mean,
I put this pressure on Barnes, but let's see if you can handle it.
We'll have to see what happens. There are court challenges going on. The Civil Liberties Association, Alberta's challenge. There is some hope that the court might say, listen, this was not done lawfully, and overturn it. So I'll be watching to see that. The Alberta one might actually be something that I could go watch. So if I could do that, then I may. We can't record things, so there won't be sort of the Rittenhouse stream or anything like that. But at least I could go and get an idea of what's happening in it, hopefully. And so that's a hope. And the longer this goes on, the more obviously illegitimate it'll end up looking. It's going to be more obvious that this threat that they've been talking about has been a non-issue. It's not people had a protest. That's and you can say, hey, we can argue about the lawfulness of it, and there's all sorts of measures in place that they could already have taken. These extraordinary powers were never necessary and are really concerning. If you're at a protest and you're breaking laws, which happens at protests all the time, people do need to be aware of the fact that they might be arrested for it. And many protests historically that have, achieved change have been ones that have involved breaking laws. It's, and that's not an encouragement to go out and break laws. It's just an understanding of the way the world works. So we'll see. But I think that this is going to look less and less legitimate over time because they're going to say, hey, listen, the ordinary actions of the RCMP are enough here. We don't need any of these, powers that operate without due process. No matter what happens, no matter how serious the crime is, you could be accused of the most heinous murder today and you get due process. You get, a trial, you get a day in court.
You get bail. I mean, that's the Tyler, the organizer of the convoy, is still in jail, and they have a bail hearing tomorrow morning.
Or at least the decision tomorrow morning. And but it's shocking to me that they're imposing these bank freezes without due process. because who can stand up?
And immunity.
Yeah, even if the bank freezes your accounts and they were wrong to do so, you can't sue them. You have no recourse other than just, take it and like it. That is the kind of power. Who can stand up to that?
Who can stand up? You have to fight it with your own dollar while they fight you with the aggregate tax dollars of Canada, which includes your own dollar. So you're paying to fight yourself to pay to fight yourself.
And you have to fight it with your own dollar when they've taken away every dollar you have. How do you fight the government when they take away the resources you'd use to fight them?
All right. Well, with that, that went from a white pill to a black pill. So
yeah, sorry about that.
Ian, I'm going to bring you up. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see. First of all, I didn't bring that up to condone violence. Every now and again, I bring up a chat free tomorrow to bring out the chat. Ian, thank you for coming on. I mean,
thank you for having me, and I will absolutely catch you next time. And yeah, have a good evening.
You too, man. Talk to you soon. I know you're there, people. I have not forgotten that we're still live. I just want to see how many we are on Rumble, because this is 25,000 on Rumble. First of all, we did it. First of all, we crushed YouTube on Rumble, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, it was to actually see the demise. Okay, so this is not to protect myself. I was wrong. Fine, I'm wrong. I don't care about that. And this is not to spin the wrongness. We're not witnessing the demise of Canada yet. We're halfway there, because this goes through the House of Commons and then it's got to go through the Senate. And apparently, I don't know what the deadline is for the Senate, and maybe it gets shouted down in the Senate. I don't know. Put as much pressure on your MPs as you can. Call them to their lawful business numbers. Do not call them on their personal numbers. Do not dox them. Do not harass them. Do not show up at their homes. Do not even. This is not a dog whistle to do it. When I say don't do it, because if you do that, it just is going to exacerbate the problem, because it's going to justify everything that they just did now wrongly. And some people don't like my ultra aggressive approach. I am by no means a Mahatma Gandhi. I don't even, but you do the stupid things, and it might make you feel good in the moment, but it'll hurt the cause in the long run. And the question is, you have to ask yourself, whose side are you on if you do something that will knowingly hurt the cause? It's a big fat load of shit is what this is. Okay, this is a big fat load of shit. They just ratified extrajudicial seizure and freezing of bank accounts with immunity to the financial institutions who are acting at the behest of the government. If that is not fascism, there is no such thing as fascism. And if you voted for that, you voted for fascism. And Jagmeet Singh, you filthy hypocrite of a human being, you divisive liar, you just voted for fascism. You didn't vote for it because you wanted it. You voted it because you voted for it because you wanted it for yourself. You didn't vote for it because you want Justin Trudeau to have it. You voted for it because you want to have it when you think it's opportune to get Justin Trudeau out of power so that you can inherit this unlawful power that you just bestowed to the federal government. A big load of crap is what this is. Let me just go see one thing. I suspect the gratuitous use of the word shit may be a problem. Let's just go see here. This is atrocious. What just happened, what we've witnessed tonight is atrocious. Check in the live stream. Oh, looky. Yellow. I swore. Request review. It's nothing but atrocious government overreach. Period. Full stop. And anyone who says otherwise is a part of the government that just benefited from this massive government overreach. All this sitting there licking their chops. Holy crap. We get to freeze the bank accounts of people we just declared to be domestic threats in the absence of a court order, in the absence of any lawful order, and we immunize them to do it. Jagmeet, may you live forever. Without a dog whistle and without nothing. May you live forever to see the consequences of what you have done to Canada. But I'm sure the WEF, whom you're affiliated with, will handsomely remunerate you. And can someone please get me this quote from Jesus from the Bible? What good is all the riches of the universe when you've sacrificed your soul? Something along those lines. And all you people who voted for Jagmeet, you think this is great because you hate the truckers. You hate the truckers. By the way, if and when things turn out badly for the things you've been doing because the government told you to do it, like those people who came and cried on my shoulder when the government compelled them to wear face masks that had graphene particles in them and that were subsequently revoked and what's the word? Not withdrawn. It's withdrawn, whatever. When those people came and cried on my shoulder, I want to sue the government because they compelled me to wear those face masks that had graphene particles in them. And we were sitting there saying, we feel like we have cat hairs in our throat. You came crying and you voted for these tyrants and you condemned those truckers and you support freezing, seizing, and selling of the assets of those truckers, putting them on a list. Yep. Recalled might have been the word. Yep. Matthew 16. Here we go. Yes, thank you. I know other people probably did it. Rose Zingelman. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? King James Version. I'm not a religious person, by the way, but you can learn morality from the Bible even if you don't believe in an organized God. Just so you should understand that. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Jagmeet, you've lost your soul. That's not what I meant to bring up. Here we go. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for it? Nothing. Nothing. Heaven and hell are the exact same thing. And it's hearing what everyone has to say about you when you're not there. So Justin, Jagmeet, imagine what people are saying about you when you're not there and hear that echo through your heads for the rest of your lives. You can go and party off in Europe with your WEF buddies and enjoy all the finest scotch and the finest meals while the rest of Canada is... I don't know what's going on upstairs. Okay. I guess the kid is channeling my... People saying take your money out. They don't care. They're in the matrix. All they want is another sweet bite of that steak. All they want to do is it doesn't matter if they burn in hell. All they want is another sweet bite of that steak. All right, well, so that's it. So I'll do this. This is yeah, that's an actual tear of frustration. So we'll see. This curl man has been here the entire night. Do I have to cut this curl off? It's been bad luck. Or has it? Hello. Hi, Kate. There's nothing actually more, I'm not going to say perverted, but there you go. Oh, there's another. What's this one? Here. Boom. We got two curls. They look like horns. So now I have to get rid of that. I'm not a religious person, so I don't go to that, but it is good versus evil. And may these people, may they enjoy all the riches that their life can. We all live for a finite period of time, and we are dead for an infinite period of time. And when you're dead, all that you have is your legacy. This is my own deep thought. When you die, all that you take with you is that which you leave behind. So, Justin, enjoy your drinks, enjoy your lavish travels, enjoy your wonderful meals, your oysters and your lobsters and your G7 summits and your rubbing elbows with the powerful. Enjoy everything. You cannot walk among your own men and women, your own brethren. You cannot walk among your own people because you are loathed and detested, as you always will be, and you always will deserve to be. And you too, Jagmeet Singh, and you too, Lightbound. You gave a nice speech, and we know you can speak well, as can any serpent. With that said, let's see if anyone's got any questions. I don't know. I mean, I may be able to rant forever. I may hear a kid screaming upstairs. Those who are willing to trade liberties for temporary securities do not liberties nor securities at all. Ben Franklin. And there's an argument as to whether or not that was in the context of something a little different. Corporatism is fascism at Mussolini. All right, I'm going to try to get some of the Rumble. Oh, look at that. It appears that Putin is invading Ukraine. Emergency UN meeting. Who would have thunk that foreign powers would seize on weakness when they see it? Hey, by the way, Trudeau, try to go... I'm going to break my own phone. Trudeau, go try to lecture Putin on human rights abuses. You've discredited yourself on an international scene. Go try to lecture Putin on human rights violations. You just brought in police and trampled an 80-year-old indigenous woman. You need and abused an Afghan veteran who was blown up in an IED. 3 of his members of his truck died. And you abused him, cuffed him, detained him for 2 hours, drove him outside of the city, and dumped him like trash on the streets. I saw the cops kneeing people. I didn't see them kneeing people. I saw them abusing people, rushing a line, dragging them behind the line, arresting them. I was there when they detonated a stun grenade. For whatever the reason, the crowd was chanting, "Oh, Canada," sang the national anthem, and then said, "We love you" to the cops. And then the cops miraculously detonated 2 stun grenades. Go ahead and lecture Putin about what he's doing in the Ukraine. You reap what you sow, you filthy hypocrites who have no respect for any rights or liberties anywhere. You don't respect their rights and liberties anywhere, you don't respect them everywhere. Go lecture Putin now. Putin just saw what you just did in Canada as a green carte blanche, not a green card, a carte blanche. Putin just saw what you did in Canada and said, "Screw you, you hypocrite liar. Don't you dare ever lecture me about international human rights violations." Good for you, Trudeau. Blood on your hands in Canada and internationally. You're good for you. This is what you've brought on the world. But good for you, because more war means more business for the government. And it means more suffering for the citizens you're supposed to represent. I'm not telling you what's in my cup right now, Rick Marcantonio. No, Rio Marcantonio. My goodness. Based on my mangling of your name, Rio Marcantonio, I'm not telling you what's in my cup, but it says "like a boss." It's not water. No, but good for you. It's a coincidence. I'm sure it's a... Yeah, sorry. I seem to have gotten so angry. I don't think the mic is working. Screw it. I'm now using my camera, so on my computer. Sorry, hold on one second. I actually got so angry, I believe I slapped the desk and dislodged my... God damn it. I apologize. I apologize for using... I don't believe in God. I apologize for using the Lord's name in vain. People believe in that. And I literally just smacked the table so hard I dislodged. This one's the camera. This one's the mic. And now we're going to finish this on my computer. It's a coincidence. Who would have thunk Putin, the dictator, after watching Trudeau, the liberal, deploy... I'm looking at the wrong damn camera. Let me start that again. Putin, the dictator, after watching Trudeau, the liberal, deploy his own personal police to physically assault peaceful protesters, decides now's the good time to invade the Ukraine. It's a coincidence. It's a coincidence. And what's Trudeau going to say? I implore Putin to show restraint when dealing with a foreign adversary, and please, when your police are arresting them, only use one knee to the rib cage and not two. And if it's an Afghanistan veteran, please leave no visible bruises, because then the state media cannot hide those visible bruises on their face when they don't report them because they didn't report them. And then please show restraint. Okay, and by the way, the white pill of the night is me getting angry. So if I'm getting angry, other people are getting angry. And if other people are getting angry, there will be change at some point. I said it the last time, though, the change has to be political and it cannot be anything but. Look at the bright side. If Canada decides to try and intervene in Ukraine, it'll be bootlickers. It'll be the bootlickers in the military dying. Viva Russia recognized the DPR and the LPR as sovereign nations. Damn it, I want to know what those are. Putin has offered material support. This happened earlier today. Go watch the Duran. Well, maybe we'll have to get the Duran back on to actually discuss this. Putin could, with his stare, make a bull doubt his own sexuality. Imagine what he could do with Trudeau. Well, he it's funny. That's actually quite funny. Viva, see the Duran for what's really going on in the Ukraine. It's a bit more complex than just opportunity. Yeah, I have no doubt it is. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the wrong camera. You got to remember to look there. That's my disgusting finger. I have no doubt it's more complicated. I'm just saying it's convenient. It's not an accident, and it's more complex, undoubtedly. But good luck in Trudeau ever lecturing China again. Of course, he never lectured them before because he's been beholden to them. They could detain Canadians for as long as they want. He would never lecture them. Good luck in Trudeau lecturing whom else? I don't know. He can't lecture anyone. He can't lecture Iran. Lawyer Robert Gouveia has been doing great work covering the protests and the Ottawa City Council. He's been on Nick's show before. Sidebar, perhaps 100%. Screenshot. Though tough night tonight, though, Viva. You're an inspiration. You rock too, Runkle. Thank you very much, James. Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to be an inspiration. I just want to be free. I just want to. Truthfully, I just want to fish. Yep. I just want to go fishing. When I'm driving down to Ottawa, I drive over the bridge at Thousand Islands or Lac des Deux Montagnes, Lake of Two Mountains, and I see people fishing. The first 3 days, or I should say the second day after my first day, I was more eager to get to Ottawa than I was at the prospect of fishing. And then the last 2 days, I just wanted to be fishing. I don't know what the audio sounds like, so I apologize, people, but I've dislodged my audio and my camera, so we're going to live with it for the rest of this. Anyway, so that's it. We've seen it. It's I said before it was going to be the end of Canada if this passes, but we still have a little bit of hope. We need the U.S. truckers to block all borders to Canada. Man, it'll give the government the excuse to federalize everything. Federalize everything. Let the government try to figure out how to farm. And then that's how you get into. That's not what I wanted to bring up. It's okay. Well, it's not. First of all, thank you. That was not the chat I wanted to bring up. It was a green one right there. Boom. Hey, Viva, watching you for 2 weeks. We are watching from the USA and realize we are next. You're not next. You've got one line of defense, and you've got people who actually respect the Constitution. Oh, I brought that one up. I apologize. I wish I could have a cocktail right now. I got to work tomorrow. Well, here we go. Justin Cheng says, got kicked in the balls. Got to get up from it. Go to get ahead of it and give back better than how we got it. Then we got God. Or else we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves to blame. Well, some of us might be losing ourselves. Do I try to do this? I'm going to try to do this in real time. Boom. Bring this back in. See if this can work. I just want to end this with good audio and good video. Now I've done that, And now settings, camera. Oh, booyah, audio. Oh, that's the wrong audio. Yeah, we're in. I think we're back in business, people. I'm going to read this because I'm going to disagree with it. Stop obeying and stay home. We run this thing. They get the honey. Stay home, stay home. Okay, that's fine. That's peaceful. Stay home. The idea of stop obeying and go, just go wreak havoc. I don't agree with because it doesn't work, and it will not work for a government. You imagine all the. Okay, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I keep hitting the table. I'm doing something bad. All that the government wanted was violence from the beginning. Turns out they didn't even need actual violence. They didn't even need actual violence to do what they wanted to do. That should be depressing to everybody. But actual violence would have gotten this result 2.5 weeks ago. Come to Wyoming, even just to visit. We have wide open spaces and fishing our ice fishing rocks, and we have world-class fly fishing. Yeah, no, I've known about the Wyoming. I do believe a river runs through it. Was in Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations, Vivo. You will join the New World Order before me. Oh, Canada. Matt Deckard, I know you. I like you. Let's drink to that. We're all... Viva Expo... Dude, that's so old. I don't even have the same glasses anymore. But I love people using my old faces as avatars. War Campaign latest Jagmeet vid must watch. Watch it. I don't know what it is. Not a condoning of this, whatever it is. Just watch it. Could the Queen theoretically? No. I mean, I don't know, but no. The Queen has no say, no influence, no power, but on paper. Could the Queen theoretically dismiss Trudeau like she dismissed the Australian Parliament in the 70s? I don't think so. I didn't even notice your name. Oh, sweet, merciful goodness. Well, thank you for the super chat. You could change your name next time. That'll not get me into trouble. Odd vote for the mandate. 185 to 151. Vote for the War Act. If that's true, that's funny. Cuba bound. The War Act was when Justin Trudeau's dad, wrong camera, when Justin Trudeau's dad invoked the War Measures Act to deal with the FLQ crisis, which was an actual real crisis. Yeah. The Queen has the Rona. Okay. Sorry, wrong camera. Okay. She'll probably be fine. And by the way, old people, not to be cynical, old people pass away. Over a long enough timeline, everyone's life expectancy eventually reaches 0. First person to get that in the chat gets the comment brought up, highlighted. It's a good movie. It's my favorite. Does it not have to be passed within 7 days of the declaration in both House and Senate? I don't think so. So I think there's a new delay for the Senate, but I don't know. Is my audio good? Fight Club, Fight Club, Fight Club, Fight Club. You still get it. Is my audio decent enough? I'm just going to finish this on my Mac camera there with my Mac audio here. I've got a 1.3 terabyte Final Cut Pro file that I have to save on an external hard drive. It's 1.3 terabytes because I haven't been able to go to a big box retail store because I protested out of principle. Okay, good. Thank you. Yes. Good. Audio good. It is Fight Club. It's Russia has invaded. Okay, we'll deal with that later. But I've gone on that rant. Alexa, wrong camera. Oh, God damn. You know what? Hold on. Oh, my back. We've got time. I'm going to take my notes from previous streams. RCMP texts, trucker, pets. Oh, when they were threatening to take the pets. I'm going to take this, put it over the other camera so I stop looking at it reflexively, and now we can talk, people. There's a green light right here, and if I look to the left enough, it'll be fun. Okay, I want to see if this is the last 4 things: death, judgment, heaven, hell. Jesus saves. I wish I could have that type of faith, and I'm saying this non-judgmentally and genuinely and sincerely without any element of mocking, full stop. I wish I could have that faith. I don't yet have that faith. It's not that it's not in me. I just don't have that faith in things beyond what I have the faith in. I have the faith in cosmic justice. I have the faith in righteousness and honesty and transparency and dying with integrity. But I just don't have the religious stuff yet, period. But hold on, someone just said, hold on, this is funny. Let me just get this. Best Dad Tea still available? We've got a box in the back, and we've got to start clearing out stuff. So one of those days, I'll do a meetup on the street, and I will give them away with a signature if anybody wants one, or a fundraiser for Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is a charity I've been supporting in local Montreal, above and beyond the truckers, which might now get me into trouble, above and beyond JCCF, which might soon get me into trouble, above and beyond Rebel News, some of their stuff, which might get me into trouble. Yeah. I just heard my phone buzz. Your audio is fine, but you're sounding a bit ragey. Okay, so I have to tone it down. That was for my wife, by the way. She said your audio is fine. Just chill out. Okay. So that's it. We've had the vote. Not only has Justin Trudeau not been ousted, not has this been shut down for political reprisals on a going forward basis. It was ratified by 185 to 151. And that's it. So that'll be the new Canada. This is the new standard in Canada, and the new standard in the States is that the impeachment process, which might have been abused for Clinton, which might have been abused for Madison, was grotesquely abused for Trump twice. And recall, people, after he had already lost the election. And I'll put it just so I don't piss people off, lost the election. I'm not undermining it. I'm just saying some people don't feel that way. They tried to impeach him after he had already formally on paper lost the election, which goes to show you it was not about justice. It was not about constitution. It was about penalizing on a going forward basis. We have now turned the Emergencies Act into a willy-nilly political tool, the same way the Democrats in the United States eviscerated impeachment of any meaningful purpose application. Canada's analog of the Patriot Act sneaks up on you. Yep. When you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. Yes. Believe in Jesus, Viva, is not a religion. Jesus hated religion. Ask any Pharisee. So I can, by the way, I believe in Jesus as a historical character, a historical individual, not a character like in a play, who promoted much of the most beautiful principles everywhere, anywhere that everyone everywhere should adhere to. I respect that. Full stop. It's the what I would qualify as the beyond natural stuff that I would have an issue with. But yeah, turn the other cheek. I appreciate it. Mahatma Gandhi, passive aggressive resistance, didn't necessarily turn out well for everybody, but yeah. Hold on. Sorry, I was intending to do something a while back before I got distracted. Let's go to historical. Yeah, that's me. I don't need to hear me. I'm just going to read some Rumble rants because there's a lot of them. Beowulf, don't forget the act requires royal assent. Petition the Queen. I'm not sure that. Then we got LNF says, small fry, very cute. Hang in, David. Thank you, LNF. We've got _deplorable_Joe. The deplorable Joe. What you're doing now, your kid's future bank account will be frozen. Smiley face. No, don't worry. The Globe and Mail said if you donated, you'll be fine. For now. They didn't say the for now part, but whatever. I'll live with it. First of all, I made my announcement that I donated to Give, Send, Go after GoFundMe fraudulently screwed people. I made that announcement before the docs. I'm what's going on here? Sorry, bring them in. I'm not scared of these things. I don't like them, but if it should happen to someone, may it happen to the person who can actually fight it, deal with it, and has the network to do it. Facts Matter says, White Pill, we whooped YouTube, who is also communist. Thank you, Facts Matter. Puckster, a $100 Rumble rant says, calm down, Viva will be fine. Trudeau will screw himself. Run for public office. People will vote for you. We believe in you. I ran I may run again, or I may run again. Double entendre intended, because this is when they weaponize the law for political purposes. Good luck. They can get you on a retroactive mischief charge. Oh, you donated to a registered not-for-profit that the government registered. We've retroactively declared that unlawful, and therefore you never got a stain on your record, so you can't run for office. RJ Report says, having family in Canada, I watched with great hope. I shed a tear for the citizens of Canada, and I will pray for us because our darkest days are ahead of us. I'll still try to be optimistic. Josie B11 says, Viva, you're much calmer tonight. That's not what my wife said, Josie. And then we got Heart Tackle. I hope you're a fishing channel. Hope you all can get it turned the other way again. Send you a lot of lures and pro shirts for the fam. Thanks for what you do. Heart Tackle. I don't know where you sent them to. I'll go check my P.O. box. I went to check my P.O. box. I had so much stuff in there. It was outrageous. I mean, fantastic letters, artwork, point curation. Thank you very much. I had beautiful stuff in there. Citizen Chuck says, do you think the great Canadian people are waking up? I hope so. But when you wake up too slowly, sometimes the nightmare has taken over already. So there's that. I'm going to crack my back. Hold on. Listen to this. Oh, who heard that? Who heard that? That was my back crack. I'm going to go for the other side now. Oh my God, that was even better. Oh, I can't go fishing tomorrow. The other problem is I can't go fishing tomorrow. We've got, I don't complain and I don't ask for sympathy, period. We've got so many things going on in the background, in the backdrop, that this 2.5 hours has been the most relaxing 2.5 hours of my day, seeing Canada crumble in real time. But, we don't have to worry. Those who donated, you don't have to worry. And this is how they do it, by the way, because it's great. You then sit there and say, oh, phew. They're only going after the 206 accounts that they've already confirmed frozen of the organizers, of the truckers who parked their cars on Wellington. But at least they're not going after me. And that's how they do it. They get you to feel safe for now. There's a bigger target. And it goes back to someone in the chat. At first, they came for the socialists. Then they came for the unions. But I wasn't. Whoever it was, someone can put it in there. That's how they do it. Hey, they didn't come for me now. So I'm supposed to be relieved. Je suis supposé être soulagé. Like I'm supposed to be comforted. They didn't come for me now. They only went for the organizers and the people who parked their trucks on the street, whom I spoke to, who were the most beautiful, peace-loving, patriotic Canadians. And not just that. I don't want to say subservient Canadians. I want to say serving Canadians. They served Canada for 2 years during this crisis. They met the needs of Canada to get us through the darkest days of this. I'm saying pandemic, not to undermine pandemic, but because it's been morphed into something else. When the crisis was at its highest, they sat there, they drove their trucks, and they delivered our goods. They didn't ask for anything, and they were lauded as heroes until they were lauded as zeros by that pompous, drama-teaching, misogynist, racist, discriminatory, hypocrite, entitled jerk of a prime minister. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Ethics commissions, come after me. Matthew Balfour says, I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf. And so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what we do with the time that is given to us, Tolkien. And it was, but I think it goes back. I think that's a variation of something that one of the founding fathers said, may there be peace in my time, but if there can't be, may the war be in my time, so the peace may be in my children's time. Hey, Viva, tell your Canadian friends and neighbors, we are here in the U.S., left the southern entrance open for you all. Stay strong and stay safe. And there's no way to stay safe when the government can starve you to death financially and arguably physically with immunity, because they've immunized. Trudeau bought off the media with subsidies and COVID ads. so they don't turn on him. And now he bought off the financial institutions because they're already federally regulated, but he immunized them for their potential misconduct. What could possibly go wrong? And those who have not swords can still die upon them. Would you have the folk of Gandor gather you herbs only when the Dark Lord gathers armies? Okay, dude, what's up with going? I might have to read this because I saw the movies and I didn't like them. But let me just see if my wife says I've calmed down. Hold on. Have I calmed down? Question mark, smiley face. We'll see what she says. Yeah, Russians can expose, but don't expect that to happen. Blackmail is worth more than revealing the blackmail. Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men, or is the music of the people? Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men, or is the music of the people that will not be slaves again? That's beautiful. Okay. Do we go for 5 more minutes? Let's see. We're going to go for 5 more minutes. Books are better. Audio books. I've been listening to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s The Real Anthony Fauci, but it's not RFK who's reading the book, and it's somebody else, and I've been listening to it at 1.5, so it sounds very fast for me. No, it sounds ridiculous when I slow it down to 1.0. It sounds so ridiculous. I don't know how anybody reads that slowly. Les Miserables. Oh, and that might have been actually what Dr. Francis Christian was singing when I interviewed. Now I think I get it. That's beautiful. Do I hunt? Let me hold on a second. I just saw a question here. Here we go. I have not hunted. I have the capacity to hunt, and I have the moral fortitude to hunt. Maybe not big game. That depends on the day, and that also depends on whether or not my family has food to eat. I would hunt big game if I had to. The tyrants of the people in particular has always been the alibi of the welfare of the people in particular has always been the alibi of tyrants, and it provides the further advantage of giving the servants the tyranny of good conscience. Albert Camus. And there was also whoever wrote Through the Looking Glass had something very similar. But yeah, can't do that anymore. By the way, it's government made it illegal. They'll get me maybe on that. That might be my downfall. Viva Fry. Bar license pulled because he caught a bass with a drone. All right, well, people, I'm glad we saw that in real time together. I'm going to go back to Rumble and just see if there's. I'm going to refresh this. Refresh. Puckster says we'll be fine. I'm not sure they'll be fine. I'm not sure, and by the time I think we're not fine, it's too late. I mean, we might already be beyond the point of not being fine, but whatever. We'll see. Hey, they've just ratified the Emergencies Act. They have turned the Emergencies Act, the exceptional national emergency declaration for when the provinces lack the resources to deal with a national emergency. They've turned it into used toilet paper. We'll get past this. Jagmeet Singh, you've confirmed everything I've been saying about you for the last year. You're an awful, awful person and an awful, awful politician, fundamentally dishonest. You have no virtue. You have no standards. You have no principles. And may you live a long and healthy life to reflect on your betrayal of your country when you're an 85-year-old person talking to your grandkids saying, Grandpa, why is Canada what it is today? And you're going to say, well, I disagreed with Justin Trudeau, but I agreed with him. I voted for it. I disagreed with his abuse of his own powers to compensate for his own incompetence, but I voted to ratify what he did. May you live forever, Justin. Not Justin, Jagmeet. And may you live forever, Lightbound. And someone just said, oh, Canada, we let the vets down. If Canada had just let the vets down, it would have been one thing. But they beat them down when they were on the ground physically, spiritually, metaphysically, but more importantly, physically, which encompasses the other two. And what did that vet do? What did that Afghan vet, whose body had been torn apart by an IED in Afghanistan, I think it was 11 years ago, what did he do? After they abused him, tied him up, sit him in the snow for 2 hours outside in the cold, dumped him off outside of the city, what did he do? He came back to protest again. And I'm blessed that I got to meet him. Bless you, Viva. Listen to some old country music. It will do your head a lot of good. It's not over until it's over. And unfortunately, problem is when it's over, it's over. So there's that. There's the old Irish thing, you know, like, how bad is it? Oh, you're healthy. Oh, you don't have your health. It's still fine. Oh, you don't have your health. You lost your health. Oh, you're dead. You're in heaven. It's still fine. Yeah, I forget. I don't remember where I saw it, but beat us all down. But that was shameful. No, they don't know. These cops show up and they're getting paid time and a half or whatever. They cover their faces. They cover their names. And my wife says, I'm sorry, she may not want me to say this, and end on a positive with some Viva energy. So how do we do that? Okay, so here's how we do it. Let me just take this down. Here's how we do it. The world is watching, and we had 70,000+ people watching this debacle of a desecration of our Constitution tonight. I don't know where you're all from. I think a lot of you are from the States, which is even better because you have bigger, broader voices that are not susceptible of freezing of your bank accounts, because in the States, you still respect a little thing called the Constitution. No, I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to bring that up. I don't even want to jokingly promote or suggest violence. So I didn't mean to bring that up. Thank you for the super chat. Don't do that, please. And on a positive note, 70,000+ people, more people than were watching, probably, and this is not to toot my own horn because this is not me anymore. This is beyond me. More people watching this than CBC, CTV, W5, despite your best efforts, Global News, Radio Canada, more people watching this than all of that. And that's why they need to resort to laws to prevent the masses from actually accessing this information. More people are learning about it. And if everyone out there just says, I'm gonna share this with 3 people, not share it in a link sense, share the knowledge. Can this be appealed? We've talked about this. Share the knowledge. Share the information. There's a reason why governments historically have always wanted to keep the population ignorant and subservient, because it's very easy to control them. And how do you keep them ignorant? Keep them living in fear. Keep them looking over here. Speaking of lures, look at this shiny object. Don't look at what we're doing here. The more people know, the more people know. So if there's a white pill, we are reaching exponentially more people. And we're reaching them until such time as they cut us off. And if they cut us off, the white pill, we've got the Rumbles. We've got the locals. We've got the platforms that are fighting the censorship and the misinformation. And the bottom line, people are not stupid. People are fundamentally very smart. And they may not be smart in the educated sense. They may not be smart in the I'm looking for my diploma. I don't know. They may not be smart in the diploma sense. They are intuitive. People can smell bullshit. And people know when they're being grifted. And they know when they're being lied to. And they know when they're being stolen from. And they know when they're being exploited. And the more people that are watching, 70,000 people were watching this tonight. On Saturday, when the police were coming down, deploying stun guns, when the crowd was cheering, "We love you," 50,000 people watching that. Share it. Have discussions, civil discussions with people who disagree with you, even if they're the same ones turning their back on you after years of whatever. Even if they're hypocrites, even if they are vitriolic, sit down and discuss with them to the extent that your physical safety is not at risk. I will sit down and I will talk with anybody and everybody to the extent that my physical well-being is not at risk. Talk with them because you will reach them. And knowledge is contagious, but more than that, truth is contagious because people don't like being lied to. And if you can find a way to make people realize that they've been lied to in a manner that allows them to preserve their own integrity and dignity and ego, you can reach them. I'm not the best at doing that because I like to rub their noses into it. I've been having an ongoing argument with someone. I said, just say that Canada has become a police state. Just say the 2 words, police state, and I will forgive you. And they said, I agree, police state tactics. And I was like, good enough. Good enough. I just cracked the hardest nut to crack. So that is the white pill, people. It's not over until it's over. And then when it's over, you don't know it's over. So, not to pull out the Irish poem there. It is a massive disappointment. But share this and share the message and just talk with people and don't aggress them, don't berate them, don't degrade them, and don't demean them, because a lot of people have wrong beliefs. I'm not saying like wrong beliefs, like unacceptable views. I'm saying a lot of people believe things wrongly out of a number of influences, fear being the most primary driver of why. We're not on lockdown, and the provinces are retracting the measures, so we'll see. And by the way, there's court challenges. JCCF is challenging it. Jason Kenney from Alberta, I don't like him, think he's a hypocrite, think he's a liar, whatever. He's challenging it. Good for him. Do the right thing for the wrong reason. I don't care, man. More power to you. So we've got court challenges, although I don't rely on the courts. But more court challenges tend to sway public opinion. And it tends to make it politically acceptable to say, well, there's a lawsuit before the court, so maybe it's not wrong for me to think this. So it happens slowly. The problem is you fall quickly, you climb slowly. And we're falling quickly in Canada, but we're going to climb up slowly. So people, I hope that's as much. Let me just see what my wife says. Okay. Was that positive enough? ? And we'll end this when she says yes. Marion, you better say yes, because otherwise people are going to get angry. Don't have hair envy. My hair is getting gray. I look like it's crazy. Whatever. I washed it, so it's actually fluffy. Let me see what she says. She might be putting the kids to bed. People, thank you very much. New leader of the PPC, Viva Fry. So I didn't bring that up on purpose. No, it's Max's party. It's Max's initiative. It's Max's courage. And I don't have the thick skin that Max has. I think I would have given up a long time ago if I had faced the adversity that Max had faced. So you may have issues with him. They may be legitimate, but he's got something that most people don't, which is determination that most people don't have. Oh, hold on. I want to see a chat here. It started with the convoy movement. Let me see if I can find it. Darn it. Here we go. The convoy movement helped unite Canada to show they're not alone, and they have, as they have the past couple of years. You're strong in America's with you, Viva Fry. Yeah, Krista Joe, and then one point in time, at some point in time, that chat may get you frozen bank accounts. Not yet, not yet. Right now, they're only going after the bad people. Thank you, Thank you, Pugliese. Pugliese, I like that name. Pugliese. Let me see if Marion said anything. It's 9:52. That might be why she hasn't said it. Jeez Louise. I was reading the Emergencies Act will allow them to sell the trucks they took. So yeah, they're trying that. They're trying to pass that provincially in Ontario. Jim Watson, everybody out there, respectfully, lawfully, these are elected officials. They have official addresses. Tell them what you think. Call your elected officials, share it. Don't become the zealot that can't leave ordinary discourse alone with family members and friends. Don't become the zealot, but share the information and share your disdain. One more shot. What was that movie? It was called the punk rock movie. Hardcore Logo. Sweet, merciful goodness. One more shot for the road. It didn't end well. By the way, just so take care, Viva. You have given me a lot of hope. Thank you very much. Hardcore Logo was one of the best mock documentaries I've ever seen. It's about a rock band, like Sid Vicious type rock band, following their rise to fame and their rise to shame, and the ending, which is thank you very much. I will never get tired of hearing God bless you, or people call me bro. Hardcore Logo, I did not know it was a mock documentary the first time I saw it. And the way it ended, I won't spoil anything, but you can surmise. I was like, that was the saddest thing I've ever seen. And I was depressed until I realized it was a mock documentary and not a real documentary. I saw it contemporaneously with release, so that'll give you an idea as to how old I was. I thought the ending was real. I thought it was a documentary. I'm an idiot. And I was like, I'm traumatized from what I just saw. And then when I found out it's better than Spinal Tap, but it's not. It's better than Spinal Tap. Sorry, that's not where I was going for. Come on. It's better than Spinal Tap, but it's not as funny as Spinal Tap because this was sort of like a drama mock documentary. Don Kress, men, it has been well said, think in herds. It has been seen that they go mad in herds while they only recover their senses slowly. And one by one, Charles Mackay Faith, more of the sheep are waking up. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Don Kress, we can't end it on any more of a white pill than that. So I'm going to take it out on this. I'm going to say, I'm looking at the wrong camera because the paper fell off my other camera. Thank you very much, everybody. This did not go the way it should have gone. But may this resonate throughout the international community. And may the international shame on the national shame that is Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, the NDP, and anyone who voted for this tyrannical measure, may they hear their names echo through their heads forever. And may the international community and Fox News, who's been railing against Canada, rightfully so, may the civil rights unions in Canada or the associations who are challenging this, may they resonate this disgrace throughout the world so that this is not only shamed and frowned upon, but that it resonates and echoes forever so that they never stop hearing the echo of their own desecration of our Constitution, despite their, geographically, temporally limited, and they'll respect our charter rights while they do it. Liars, and may the world mock them into the shame that they deserve. So with that said, people, started watching you a few days ago. Best wishes from Chile. This is a planetary issue. Keep up the spirits. Thank you very much, Felipe Abrigo. I love your avatar because it looks like there's a wonderful story behind that avatar. I'm not a politician, so that chat must have been for someone else. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. We have a sidebar Wednesday, and this might be the new format, is just covering the stuff as it occurs in real time. Because it happens too quickly. It happens too quickly. The QR code, by the way, no, don't worry about it. QR code in Quebec is done now. I went into a big box store. Didn't have to show it today. Science. Watch Tucker Carlson tonight for video footage and some info. Can't post a link, but good info. Thank you very much. They were going to use my video of the stun grenades going off on Tucker Carlson, but it didn't make it through. But one day, maybe I'll get onto Tucker Carlson and just talk about what's been going on. Okay, people. I hope you all heard that. I got to go eat dinner. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything. Don't lose faith. It is true. It's always darkest before the dawn. So the problem is you never know when dawn is coming. So you never know how long you have to hold your breath for. Keep hoping and keep fighting. Peacefully, politically, without exception, without qualification. Thank you all. Enjoy the night.